It's always free. My official prediction for what it's
Yeah,
worth,
let's get to it right now.
And then I'm curious what yours is too, Drew. So when
we have not shared the number. So
no,
by the way, so I'm writing mine down right now, so you don't think, oh my gosh, here I'm writing down my.
I'll write mine down.
I'm writing down my win total. All right.
All right.
We haven't shared it. All right.
Let me write it down. So there's
text line. You guys can text in as well.
I don't think that anybody's going to be in a huge gap.
Should be pretty close.
A big hater or a huge believer.
I'm gonna turn this sheet of paper around at the same time. We have not talked. 89. Oh, my gosh. Oh, jeez. We both wrote 89. Of course we did. All right. I was close to writing down 90. 89 does not guarantee a division, but it definitely puts them in play. I'll still – how about this? I'm going to predict 89 wins and a wild card. I think they're going to come up just short. It's going to be a hell of a summer, and we're going to be talking in the final week of the season a chance to win this division still. But I'll still give the Tigers the slight edge. I am very concerned about the back end of the bullpen, and I know it's something that in the middle of the season you can potentially go get some bullpen help. But Skubal and Valdez has to prove that he is going to be healthy all year.
He does.
As we talk about health of the Royals pitchers, Valdez, it's been a bit since he made it through a full season. Very, very talented, though, and we know what Skubal is. So I'll give the Tigers the edge because that 1-2 punch, as much as we love the Royals rotation, that 1-2 punch is about as good as it gets in the AL for the Tigers. I'll give them the slight edge, and if McGonigal ends up being something special and is a legit Rookie of the Year candidate, which he is, for the Tigers, that could be problematic. Hopefully, Carter Jensen can push McGonigal.
That, yeah.
But I'll go Royals with 89 wins, one of the wild card spots.
I think 89 in the division.
Okay.
And I understand technically the Royals are half game back already. You know,
no,
because
okay.
these other teams play.
Okay.
I'm joking. I'm joking, of course. Because the Tigers and the Guardians already won, and then the two bad teams in the division already lost, which makes perfect sense.
I mean, a quick start in April would change everybody's feel. Like, if I tell you the Royals somehow for the first time in a while get off to a 7-2 start or something crazy like that, 7-3, how about that?
What it
or
is
6-4 even. Everybody will feel so much better. It's you know what happens.
14 and 13 a lot, or 15 and 14. You know,
we've all been around long enough that this series, as silly as it sounds, 162 game season, but there's such a difference on Monday when we're outside Gate D at Kauffman. If the Royals win the opening series against the Braves, or versus they get swept by the Braves, and all of a sudden Monday feels like, oh, you better win Monday, otherwise fans are already be down here and be sitting at 0-4.
Like last year or 2 years ago.
Maybe
2 years ago.
Maybe 2 years ago.
I think it was 2 years ago.
And it sounds so silly because it's such a long year, but that is how, if you talk about the energy at the K and wanting fans to buy in early and all that, and I think fans are buying in as we sit heading into opening day, but it's weirdly an important series against the Braves only for that, not like legitimately for the standings, but the fan vibes. And that's a real thing when you talk about getting people to the ballpark.
Yes, of course it is. And like in a weird way, Gold, I don't even feel like I don't even want like mediocre. I don't want 2 games back. And look, we don't have to standings check at the end of April, but you know what I mean. Like 2 games back and 14 and 13. That's what they were last year, right? They're 3 games back in the Central and they're like 500. No. How about like a 65% winning percentage to get through the month of April? Give yourself a little bit of room so that if June doesn't go horrible or July, whatever month it was last year that went like wretched, like let's just say it's below 500. It's medium. It's not bad. It's not good. It's just, hey, you had 2 games below 500. Well, at least you gave yourself some grace. So few times in Royals history when they're a team who can compete for a playoff spot, Gold, do they have grace, space, room, all this stuff to grow, where at least they have an opportunity to like lose a couple games and not feel like you're constantly falling behind these other teams. And so I don't know which way it's eventually going to go with them this year, obviously, for sure. None of us do. But, like, I wasn't way off from, like, the 90 wouldn't have been out of the question for me because I do think that they're going to win the division.
From a betting angle, I will tell you, though, the win total, you and I and most of the text line are everybody's over.
High.
So the texts that are coming in, someone says, I'll go 87 wins for the Royals. Health of the pitching staff makes me too nervous to go to 90. Someone else says 88, 89, 91, 92 and 70. A lot of 92 and 70s, by the way, coming in. Someone, the most optimistic, 95 and 67 is probably the highest number I've seen. But the win total at the books, Royals 82.5. The highest win total in all baseball, of course, is the Dodgers at 102.5. But you and I both said 89.
Yeah.
The only teams that have a win total over-under above that is the Cubs 88.5, Mariners 89.5, Phillies 89.5, Mets 90.5, Yankees 90.5.
Well, I mean, and understandably, you know how this works with win totals. There aren't that many that have over 11 wins, but there'll be 5 or 6 teams that do it in the NFL. Mm-hmm. A lot of this is just based on the idea of, like, it's a numbers game. Someone will come up short. And again, their job is to get you to bet on it, not to
for sure
necessarily predict the win total. But if you go to like Pacoda, which is actually high on the Royals this year, or Fangraph's win prediction, we're still high. There's no doubt we are. And that's largely because of like the small market stuff and the relatively unknown of like, I think the biggest unknown of the Royals is pretty clear again, is the outfield.
Absolutely.
Is Jack Kagleon, because you mentioned Kevin McGonigal. Forget Carter Jensen for a minute. If Jack Kagleon is a qualified major league hitter, or I don't care, 80% of the kind of prospect he was coming up, well then we are having a very different conversation about their offense. If he is 80 to 85% of what he was expected to maybe be coming out of coming out of the minors last year, well then they got a whole nother thing coming. We're having a very, very different. We're talking about in the low 90s and not a runaway division win, but a comfortable one by a few games or so. At least on that Zips, which is Fangraphs, they have him at 83 wins. Pacoda had him at 84. So like the over-unders are set a little bit lower than that, but like we're in the ballpark of what most analytics numbers say they'll be.
What does the Nixon rankings say? Do we know? What
Drew, what's your number?
Do we know what those are saying about the Royals heading into the start of the season?
The Royals are going to go 90 and 72.
90 and 72. Let's put that one down. Let's put that one down. We're on the record. You and I are 89. Drew's at 90.
You're slightly higher than us.
So we're both right there. I think the part that I'm curious about is the division. The Tigers over-under win total is set at 85.5. And then I just already said the Royals are at 82.5 as far as the preseason over-unders. And then a team like the Guardians, 79.5. They always seem to overachieve. Everybody looks at their roster and like, how do they end up having this type of season? That's why the last two manager of the years have come from the Guardians. Now, they went on the run late last season, right? That was the crazy stretch that they had, and understandably so. But then the White Sox have the third lowest win total in all of baseball heading in. 67.5 wins. The only teams with the worst over-under win total heading in, the Nationals, who got an opening day win yesterday against the Cubs, and then the Rockies, 56.5 over-under win total for the Rockies.
I got to say, I think the Twins are going to compete for one of the 5 worst records in baseball.
Twins 72.5. I'll take the under.
I will, too. I think they're going to win like 63 games. I might like their under more than I like the Royals over in a weird way, because I'm just so convinced that will not be a good team when the time's all said and done. And so I really do. There's like a lot of optimism with the Royals and a lot of, I think, correct optimism with the Royals this year. And I'm excited to finally get to watch baseball tonight, although admittedly, I'm going to have to watch like the first 3 innings from like my daughter's dance competition. She has her solo tonight.
Okay.
So, like, I have to – her solo's before the game starts. It's actually, like,
You're good.
10 minutes before first pitch, which is pretty sweet. But, she's got to stay and watch her friends and stuff.
A reminder, though, if you are looking for a place to watch the game, tonight we are going to have a good chunk of the station hanging out at Maloney's in downtown OP. So we'll be there this evening. We'll have some Royals on. I'm sure there'll be a few of those Sweet 16 games on. It's going to be a great time at Maloney's. We'll talk more Royals baseball in about 15 minutes. Jake Eisenberg is in Atlanta, of course, going to be on the call tonight, along with Denny Matthews, right here on 96.5 The Fan. So we'll talk more Royals in just a bit. I do want to briefly pivot over to the Sweet 16 last night. And we did discuss so much on Monday about the opening weekend and how we didn't have the upsets. And what does that mean? And is this the future of college hoops?
There's going to be better games because, better teams.
Right. And the part that I've always liked about the upsets was opening weekend. But when we don't have upsets, Sweet 16 and Elite 8, those are usually when the ball is better. And that's what happened, at least for the first 2 games last night. The last 2 games were fairly comfortable wins for both squads. Talking about Illinois, of course, and Arizona. Arizona was all over Arkansas. Illinois just completely shut down Houston's offense. But the first 2 games were elite, top-notch. You couldn't ask for more. Iowa, Nebraska came down to the final couple minutes. Nebraska did lose that basketball game as much as Iowa won that game, as far as I'm concerned. Hell, they had 4 guys on the court at one time.
They gave up a bunny.
That was a big mistake by Hoiberg and company. And then Purdue and Texas was a way better game than I thought it was going to be. Purdue, of course, gets the tip in with 0.7 seconds. Otherwise, that game was headed to overtime. And so Purdue moves on. They're going to take on, Arizona. And then we get Illinois, Iowa in Houston. So I didn't look. I bet you that ticket market, man, just went to after
trash.
Nebraska lost and after Houston lost, because that crowd, yes, Iowa fans more will head on down there. In Illinois may be the case, but Houston was going to dominate the crowd and did, and Nebraska fans had a ton down there. Bars were running out of beer, reportedly, of Busch Light down there or whatever. So, and I'm not surprised to hear that whatsoever.
No, least surprising news of all time.
But that was the trade-off, Cody, of not having the big upsets as many in the opening weekend. We got better matchups, and the first two games delivered.
So it's tough because, like, this is always like if you're a college basketball fan, like if you're Drew or Carrington, you're like, look at the sport, healthy as ever. Look what we got. And we're just going to ignore the other two games that were terrible? They were terrible. Like the nicest thing Drew could say about the second game last night, which is fair, was chipping away at that lead, as in never got it back close, and then eventually still lost by double digits. And that's not a knock on you, Drew. That is genuinely just the style of game that it was. By the time it got, and we know this about Houston's offense, we can say whatever we want about it. When they were down 20, that ain't happening anymore. Houston's not erasing a 20-point deficit with their offense and their style of play. It was over then. And look, I picked Illinois to be a Final Four team.
You did? Yeah, good call.
I'm in the championship game against Arizona.
Well, you got to feel good about it right now.
So, well, I got two Elite Eight teams, so I'm at least off to a good start. I've got hope, at least on that end. And look, although I haven't checked the recent on Jefferson tonight for Iowa State, because that's one of my other Final Four teams. But when you look at it, and Duke, when you look at it at the moment, I do think that we are going to get some heavier hitters. And I think what I've decided, rather than just like constantly living like upset that the McNeese States or the Loyola Chicagos is, I'm just going to have to accept, I think, in the NIL era, that the Cinderella teams are Iowa. Like, play in a Power Four conference or in a big program, but Iowa hasn't made a Final Four in, since Lute Olson, I think.
It was 1980 is the last time they made it.
Yeah. It was when Lute Olson, the last time Arizona made a Final Four too, by the way. They made a Final Four since Lute Olson was their coach in 1980. Lute Olson in 2000. So, I just accept that Iowa in the new era of college, that is an underdog in its own way. They're still taking on the better team. They're still the least likely to win team. They just keep taking teams down.
How about Ben McCollum, man? I mean,
wins everywhere he goes.
This guy is unbelievable. We all know the story of Northwest Missouri State. What do you do with Drake? Gets the job at Iowa. They're a 9 seed. Didn't have a great regular season. That's why they were a 9 seed. They beat number 1 Florida. They just beat, of course, Nebraska, one of the rivals, last night. And at this point, I mean, who's to say that Ben McCollum can't pull off another upset? They're going to be underdogs. I think 6 points. I saw 6-point dogs to Illinois in Houston. And why would I count them out? Why would I? I mean, Illinois looked amazing, but I think we've seen what he's been able to do, and this is why future job opportunities, whether it's North Carolina, whether it's if Bill Self were to retire, Kansas, or I keep telling you, Gary Parrish, who's covered college basketball for probably 25 plus years at this point.
Yeah, he said he might do.
He said he's heard that the NBA is really keeping an eye on him, kind of the Brad Stevens angle. Maybe he becomes a coach in the NBA at some point down the road, eventually a front office gig guy. They just think he's a brilliant mind and knows how to evaluate talent and maximize the talent that he has. Now he's got a future NBA player in Sturts, who's just since
he's played 120
unreal.
minutes
Absolutely
in 3 games,
ridiculous.
Every single second. Did you see that stat today? He's played every single minute, every single second for Iowa this year. He has 1 turnover, singular. Like the guy's not even
and no fouls.
He's committed 0 fouls and 1 turnover.
And he's a local
120 minutes. He's a local kid.
That's also pretty cool.
I think that the underdog's just going to be different. It's just going to be different. Now, look, we're going to have to wait out years and years to determine this. Because, again, yesterday, sure, half the games were good against Iowa and Nebraska and Texas and Purdue, but the other 2 stunk. The other 2 weren't good games. And so, we got to kind of determine what about tonight? What's the ratio?
What are you guys looking forward to tonight? I know, we were discussing yesterday the games we were looking forward to. This is more of a, KU lost at St. John's thing. I'm fascinated to see what St. John's looks like against Duke because I didn't think St. John's played good against Kansas, and it still didn't matter. They shot more threes than they ever had in the Pitino era. So what's Duke's game plan? Are they gonna say, hey, St. John's, we also don't think you can shoot the basketball, and they're gonna leave wide open looks? What happens? Now, Duke's a much better basketball team than Kansas this year, so some of it will just balance out because of that. But Duke's a 6.5-point favorite. Do you think St. John's and Rick Pitino can surprise people?
I feel the same way I do about the game on Wednesday. I think Drew and I disagreed on this one, but on Wednesday I told you, it's been nice, Arkansas. You're going to get beat pretty bad by Arizona. It's been nice, St. John's. Duke's going to put their foot on your throat. You're done.
I don't know what example you're about to give me.
I was trying to decide.
I didn't know. I was like, wow, we're not on satellite radio.
I wasn't sure. I was like,
know.
I was cycling through the options. But so you're done. it's been a nice story. Good for you for making a Sweet 16. It's over now. Like, that's how I feel about. That's the only one this tonight that I don't have any feeling of competitiveness for. I think that one will be an ass kicking. I think Duke will win handily, 10, 15 points. In the other three, I do expect close, hard-fought.
Tennessee Iowa State might be the game of the night again. Like it's the late game. Last night it didn't deliver with Illinois and Houston, but Tennessee Iowa State. Now you asked about Jefferson. I believe it's a game time decision officially.
Yeah. So I mean that obviously makes a huge difference on whether or not you're going to choose him to win, hypothetically.
Which one for you, Drew?
The one that stands out to me is UConn, Michigan State. I think that might be the best one of the night. The thing about St. John's and Duke is interesting, where Cody thinks that one will be a little bit more spread out. I think Bama, Michigan will be more spread out for the same reason I think Arkansas and Arizona was spread out. And that was a terrible matchup for Arkansas. They struggled against good offenses. They allowed a ton of points to High Point. High Point didn't play good defense. That's why Arkansas kept up. Arizona was just too good. I think Alabama's kind of that way. They struggle a little bit to stop teams. Michigan's got one of the best defenses in the country. That one I think could be a little more spread out. But I think Michigan State and UConn will be a lot of fun.
Coming up next here on Cody and Gold, we're going to get back into the Royals. Jake Eisenberg, he'll be on the call tonight with Denny Matthews on 96.5. The Fan of the Royals open up the 2026 baseball season. Don't forget to stop on by Rally House in Independence. We're broadcasting here till 2 o'clock. The Independence location is off of East 39th Street. We've got $400 Rally House gift cards you can register to win, plus a pair of tickets to the home opener on Monday right here on 96.5 The Fan. And they're also giving out scratcher tickets. First 100 customers through the door going to receive one of those, get up to 40% off your next MLB purchase. Be sure to level up your fandom at one of the local Rally House locations today. Hopefully it's the Independence location, or go to rallyhouse.com. Up next, we get right back to the Royals with Jake Eisenberg.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
As America's #1 motorcycle insurer, Progressive has your back.
Oh, like roadside assistance?
Oh yeah, Progressive offers that.
Great. Do you have plans Saturday? My cousin canceled and I'd love to have someone to ride with.
Actually, we just do insurance, not riding buddies.
Cool, let's meet at noon. Actually, scratch that. 10 a.m., you and me, breakfast at a diner.
To be clear, Progressive has your back for insurance only. So get a quote and see if you can save.
Okay, so if you beat me there, get me the Lumberjack Special. We can share.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Roadside assistance may require comprehensive coverage.
Hop in a John Deere Gator XUV for a day's work. Let's see what's on the to-do list. There goes the tree. And the fence. Not a problem. Because you've got a cargo box filled with solutions. Up to 4,000 pounds of towing capacity. And you're ready to roll.
The power's out!
Here we go again. The Gator XUV, built for every kind of workday. Learn more at johndeere.com/Gator XUV. Nothing runs like a deer.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again. So call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600 or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices: Overland Park, Independence, and North Kansas City.
Fanatics Sportsbook is turning up the heat and have introduced a new way to parlay. It's called Squad Bets, and it's available across NBA, MLB, and NHL. So here's the deal. Tap into the Fanatics Sportsbook app, build your squad from the sport you want, pick your market, points, rebounds, assists, strikeouts, goals, and finally, set your target. So if you like hoops, you could pick 4 players to combine 100 points. Then sit back like a GM and watch your squad go to work with live tracking every step of the way. And here's the difference. If one player doesn't perform, the rest of your squad can pick up the slack. So if your bet stays alive all the way to the very end, track it live, cash out whenever you want. Squad bets, only on Fanatics Sportsbook. Parlays hit different here. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure where to start? Selling a home can feel overwhelming, especially if you're facing foreclosure, a divorce, an inherited property you don't want, or just need to move quickly. But you don't have to figure it out alone. Rex Buys KC is here to help. As a local home buyer, I understand the Kansas City market inside and out. My family and I live right here, so I know the neighborhoods, the trends, and the challenges homeowners face. That's why I take a consultative approach, helping you explore your options and find the best path forward. We buy houses in any condition, no need for repairs, no agent commissions, and no hidden fees. You'll receive a fair cash offer with a closing timeline that works for you. Whether that's in as little as 7 days or at your own pace, just a simple, hassle-free process designed around your needs. If you're ready to talk through your options, call me today at 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Let's find the right solution for you. Rex Buys KC. Local, fair, and focused on you.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-700-6898. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-700-6898 or biglou.com.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Brought to you by Kalshi. Trade on anything.
March matchups are here. Trade the tournament in all 50 states on Kalshi. St. John's is trading at 29% to beat Duke. A $100 trade pays out $328 if they win. Download the Kalshi app and use code FAN to get $10 off when you trade. KALSHI. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Just getting started here on a Friday. It is opening day across Major League Baseball. We're celebrating by being out at Rally House today in Independence. Don't forget, you can come on by, register to win home opener tickets. We got a pair of those to register to win. We've got 4 $100 Rally House gift cards. So come on by the East 39th Street location. Get your new gear for the start of the Royals season. They're also handing out scratcher tickets. First 100 customers through the door will receive a Rally House opening day scratcher to receive up to 40% off your next MLB purchase. And let's talk some more Royals baseball with a man that you'll hear tonight on 96.5 The Fan, Jake Eisenberg. He joins us each and every Friday throughout the baseball season. You're in Atlanta, obviously. Set the scene a little bit. I saw your photo, and it put me in a good mood. It was just sunny, green grass, Cole Reagan's on the bump, getting set for today.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool scene, and seeing Cole, just walk out onto the field at Truist Park yesterday and kind of take it all in. And I think that's sort of what we were all doing when we were there yesterday for the workout. I'll admit it's been kind of an odd week where you leave spring training last Saturday, and then you have the off day Sunday, and then exhibition games Monday, Tuesday, and then back-to-back off days here. And it was kind of like that, weird feeling watching everybody else's opening day celebrations yesterday. And like the silver lining was getting to watch all of it, but it was weird to not be a part of it. And now we get to be a part of it, and we get to have opening day ourselves, and then we get to do it again on Monday. So officially, gentlemen, happy opening day. We've made it to the Royals baseball season.
I hate that they made us wait in a whole extra 24 hours. I feel like, we're getting shortchanged a little, although that does mean that we get baseball all weekend, Jake. So I guess I can take that as a win. No off day after you finally get a taste of baseball.
Yeah, they switched they took away the rain day, as they call it here in Atlanta. We will have the off day on Tuesday in Kansas City. That is what they call the rain day. And hopefully we won't need that at all. So that'll be obviously, a little bit weird. But, we get baseball all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7:15 Eastern, 6:15 Central tonight for Cole Reagans and Chris Sale.
We can talk about some of the other individual players here in just a minute. But as far as the rotation goes, obviously last year it still ranked as one of the best rotations in baseball, even without Cole Reagans for a chunk of the season last year. Should our expectations be even higher than what they've been able to do the last 2 years? Because that's been the driving force behind their success.
I mean, that wouldn't be unreasonable. To your point, the rotation last year had a 3.80 ERA. That was 7th in baseball, and that was only 13 starts of Cole Reagans. And keep in mind that in those 13 starts, his ERA was over 5. And then you don't have Chris Bubich for all of August and September, and he was an all-star in the first half of last season and one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. And so the Royals rotation put up those numbers last year largely with, the incredible reinforcements. Noah Cameron's outstanding rookie season, Stephen Kolek and Ryan Berger being the August and September pitchers of the month for the Royals after they came over in a trade. Seth Lugo had a really good first half, but a very not good second half. Michael Wacha was steady as she goes, as he's been really his entire career, really one of the more underrated high floor starting pitchers there is in baseball. So yeah, I think the expectation should be pretty high for this rotation that is at full strength on opening day with your ace on the mound, a guy in Seth Lugo, who again, as poorly as last year ended, I don't think we should forget how good the beginning of last season was. He was an all-star snub. Michael Wacha's back in there too, again, as steady as it gets. Chris Bubich is fully healthy. Noah Cameron just had a great rookie year. And if and when need be, the depth is really good with Ryan Berger right now in AAA, Stephen Kolek coming back from the oblique injury. Lewinter Avila is waiting in the wings and can be sort of a hybrid. Put him in the bullpen, have him as a starter if need be. I think this is a really, really good rotation top to bottom. Frankly, I'd stack it up with any rotation in baseball 1 through 5 right now.
Which means you think that it stacks up against the Tigers, because that's inevitably the question over the division, because people give them the edge there. But in my mind, even though I think the Tigers are really good, I like the Royals' bullpen and lineup better than the Tigers, and I do think that their rotation on its best day is on par, at the very least, with the Tigers. Maybe better, depending on the top-end stuff they get out of Cole Reagans this year, but it is certainly on par.
Yeah, I would agree, and that's why, I think from the outside looking in, when you look at the national prognosticators and everyone's making their picks, it seems like the sentiment is that there's a decent gap between the Tigers and the Royals for a reason that I don't particularly understand, given everything you just said. I think the rotation stacks up. No, you don't have the back-to-back Cy Young winner in Tarek Skubal, and Framber Valdez has always been nasty. That's a heck of a 1-2 punch. There's no discounting that. The Tigers' bullpen, I think, is pretty solid. Yeah, you've got a future Hall of Famer at the back end there with Kenley Jansen. I think the Royals bullpen is really solid too. And I think both offenses have some interesting pieces, but I think the Royals offense definitely has a higher ceiling with the caliber of players, especially in the top half of the lineup with, Michael Garcia and Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez. And, if Carter and Cags take that big step forward, I mean, you're looking at what could be a top 10 offense in baseball. And again, as poorly as last year began for the Royals offense, it finished last year as a top 10 offense in the second half of the season in terms of runs per game and also hitting with runners in scoring position. They really flipped the script offensively, and it's largely the same group.
We're talking with Jake Eisenberg. Of course, he's on the broadcast tonight with Denny Matthews on 96.5. The Fan, you mentioned the lineup a little bit, and you compare opening day, last year's lineup. You look at what we projected to be later on tonight down in Atlanta. How deep is this lineup? And I know so much potentially is going to be predicated on what they get from Jack Kagleon or Lane Thomas at some point in time during the season. But it just feels like the lineup, when you even just look at the eye test, you feel better about it, I guess, than I compare it to last year's opening day lineup.
Yeah, and look, time will tell, as time always does tell. I think one thing to keep in mind with tonight is that the lineup tonight, I would not be surprised if it looks a little bit different than people might be expecting it to look, because the Royals are facing a really tough lefty in Chris Sale. Sure, it's opening day, but you're still facing a tough lefty in Chris Sale. And so I'm pretty sure you're going to see the right-handed bats in there like Lane Thomas and Starling Marte. I think we got a sneak preview of what this lineup could look like on Monday when the Royals faced Mackenzie Gore and the Rangers, and we saw Lane Thomas hitting third and Starling Marte also in there and playing right field. I'm not sure if that's the order, but I would be pretty surprised at this point if those guys weren't in there. I don't know. That's probably at the expense of a Kyle Isbell. I don't know if Cags will be in there or not, but basically I'm not so sure that the opening day lineup is necessarily going to look like the lineup, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. I understand because, the lefty in. But for, Jack Kagleon, there is no player in my mind, Jake, who needs to have a better start than him. The way I talk to him, Vern says this too, it's some of it is when he's confident and playing with confidence, he does seem to be a different level of player when he is at that level versus last year when it got shook for the first time, right? Where he was tested in a way that he hadn't been tested up to that point. I feel like it's really important he gets off to a good start this year.
Yeah, and look, I think he's already gotten off to a good start. I mean, the walk rate was really impressive in spring training and also during the WBC with Team Italy. So I think the confidence is already there, especially from those, higher pressure games with the World Baseball Classic. I keep coming back to this with Jack. Last year, he joined the Royals and made his big league debut at a time where the Royals scoring runs was trying to land on the moon. It felt like it was near impossible. And I think there was a good amount of pressure, and I'm positing this. I think there was a good amount of pressure to be the guy and be the savior. And I think it's easy to look across baseball and see a player like Nick Kurtz, who you played against in college and was drafted 2 picks before you and ultimately winds up as Rookie of the Year, having this great season and thinking, I should be doing that and then some, especially after the results in AAA. And then, to get punched in the mouth by the big leagues a little bit, that's definitely humbling. But I keep coming back to the fact that this year, he doesn't have to be the guy. There's zero pressure for him to be the guy. He is a part of the supporting cast for now and certainly could be a part of the main cast by the time the season ends. But he's got time and space to mesh into this lineup in a way that I'm not sure that he had in the same way last year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I definitely think there's less pressure on him. In the World Baseball Classic, that bat flip, that at least was okay, that's Florida Cags. That's minor league AA Cags, right? That's when, things are humming and it feels like it's there. Look, I'm still very high on him. I think he's going to hit 35 home runs this year. There's no doubt. It just feels like
I like it.
I don't want a beginning of season struggle to turn into a season-long stuff, but I also agree with Vern that he's got to be an everyday player. So, as much as, they're up against a tough lefty tonight, I think I want him in there against tough lefties most nights. Doesn't have to be tonight necessarily. I don't know the opening day lineup, obviously. But, moving forward as the season goes on, I want him in there just like Vinny would be up against any pitcher,
Yeah, so that certainly would be the goal. And I think ultimately, hopefully he starts as hot as anybody and carries that through. I guess my point was that if there is a slow start for some reason, it's not something I'm worried about because there's time and other pieces around him where he doesn't need to carry the load.
Correct.
The way that we were maybe hoping that he might in June last year when he came up.
Jake, how about second base? We know, unfortunately, Michael Massey is on the IL to start the season. He has struggled to stay healthy. Jonathan India had injuries last year. He's going to be starting at second tonight. The fan base, I know, was pretty disappointed a season ago with what they got from Jonathan India. Heck, I think the Royals were disappointed with what they got from Jonathan India. What have you seen throughout spring? He was not part of the WBC, so he was there for the duration of spring. What are you seeing from him, and do you think there is a real possibility that he can at least be what he was in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I think there was disappointment all around, and that includes from Jonathan India, too. It was career worst numbers. There's no hiding from that. He did have an injury the second half of the year that he was playing through, but, players will not make excuses like that. I think, India during spring training, I talked to him a couple of times, and I'll say this, he seemed so much more comfortable and loose and outgoing and happy is not the right word because he was happy last year too, at certain points, obviously not with the way he was playing, but like just in general humanity. But he just seemed to have a little bit more pep in his step and felt a little lighter. And I think that's just a level of comfort in being, back with the Royals year two. I think that there was maybe an underrated amount of assimilation that, look, every player is different. Every person's different. When you jump into a new space with new people in a new city and new ballparks, like that's going to be more challenging for some people than others. And I think that was maybe an underrated part of why it might have been a challenging season for India. As far as the baseball side is concerned, the underlying numbers last year, you look at them and you're like, okay, I see, where there might have been some room for, bad luck in some of his numbers. Like the underlying numbers were good in some respects. And then during spring training this year, when I talked to him, he's got a pretty good understanding of his zone. The walks, he drew, I think it was like 3 times as many walks as he had strikeouts this spring. And there are certain things in spring training that you look at offensively and you're like, yeah, if you hit a bunch of homers, it's Arizona, it's hot, the ball travels. But plate discipline and exit velocity are 2 things that tend to carry over pretty well, especially with the advent of ABS. So I think the plate discipline is certainly there. I also think hitting in the lower half of the lineup is going to help too. Last year, runners in scoring position, he had a 900 OPS with runners in scoring position last year. So as difficult as was the season that he had hitting out of the leadoff spot with the bases empty, when he came up in those bigger situations, he was among the Royals' more consistent players. Hit nearly 300 OPS of about 900 with runners in scoring position. Look, opening day is the day of ultimate optimism, right? And so from my perspective, there is no reason not to believe that Jonathan India can have the bounce-back season that he and the Royals are hoping that he does.
2 years ago, the surprising player was Seth Lugo. Last year was either Michael Garcia or Noah Cameron, who surprisingly took big leaps or came through in a way that we didn't expect. You got a player you think that might be able to do that for the Royals this year, or is this just too established of a team to be picking somebody to perform that isn't the guys we already know?
I'll go with Lane Thomas. I mean, he's an established big leaguer, sure, but I think he was maybe written off a little bit after the tough injury-plagued seasons he had the last couple of years in Cleveland, especially last year when he only played 39 games. But, I mean, we're talking about a guy that was a 2020 player, just a couple of years ago. And over the last few full healthy seasons that he's had, 60 homers, 60 steals. This is a power speed combo. He can go get it at all 3 outfield positions. I thought this was a really savvy signing when it happened. I think we're going to look back on this as a really savvy signing. I think he's going to be a more significant contributor that maybe we thought he would be when that signing happened in December. So if you're looking for, a not so obvious surprise pick, that'll be the one for me. It's Lane Thomas.
Yeah, I like that answer. We've talked a lot about Lane Thomas. I just think because of the power potential, something they just didn't have in the outfield. I would not surprise me. You said, Cody, 35 homers for Cags. A breakout, I could see Lane Thomas pushing 25 or 30 this year.
That's 28 is career high, so it's not crazy. Yeah. Fences are in, Jake. Have you gotten a preview of that yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't been in Kansas City since February 17th.
Okay.
So no, I haven't seen the fences yet. Only what I've seen from pictures and videos from news outlets and things like that. I'm excited to see what it looks like. I don't think it's going to look, at least from the booth, all that noticeably different. I mean, can you really perceive, a 10-foot difference? But maybe I'm wrong. I do know that the corners might look a little bit more angular, so that'll be something that maybe I'll notice. I'm excited to see it. Oh man, I'm so excited to be back in Kansas City Sunday night and then get the home opener on Monday. I I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing.
We might make you double dip. Will you come join us again on Monday outside Gate D?
Absolutely. Time and place, you name it, I'm there.
We'll be talking to Jake on Monday, it sounds like, as well. We'll be listening tonight, of course, as the Royals open it up here on 96.5 The Fan against the Braves. Appreciate it, man. Have a great call.
Appreciate it, guys. Happy opening day.
Happy opening day as well. Jake Eisenberg joins us each and every Friday, and sounds like on opening day as well. Yeah, why not? Why not? Opening day Monday.
It's different. The rules are different. We'll have JJ next week, Jake. You know, some people that we normally have on different
Vern
days.
will stop by. I talked to Vern yesterday in the parking lot at work as I was walking out of the studio. He was getting some stuff that he needs to get ready for the season as well from the station. So, yeah, Monday's going to be a ton of fun. I know today there's some excitement because the first game of the year, and hope to see you guys out at Maloney's and in downtown OP watching the game. But Monday's the day where, I don't know about you, Cody, where I'll really feel the excitement. When the weather looks like it's be incredible on Monday. It's going to be sunny. You're going to smell the ballpark. I'm excited. This is the first opening day. I'm going to be able to actually smell the ballpark. I know that sounds very weird, but if you've been listening to the show,
still going well.
Well, I'm not on antibiotics anymore.
Oh, okay.
They're working. I have another follow-up. I don't want to just claim it's good to go, but Cody, I can smell everything again.
You're back.
It's amazing. We'll see if it goes away again here. But shout out to the doctor. I'll wait until it's official before I
can't remember his name now. But
you do. You know the name. You're asking me to say it. That's what it is.
No, I can't. remember.
I genuinely forget the name.
I remembered
too,
it was funny, but was it like
Dr. Seaman?
Oh, that's right. I almost said scrotum. I was like,
yo, why you don't have to do that. You didn't have to do that.
I couldn't remember the name, Drew. I genuinely couldn't remember.
Oh, thank you, Cody. Thank you.
All right,
oh my
bad.
gosh.
You know what? I'm excited. Baseball is back. Get a nice,
Apparently.
good, positive, relaxed energy to start the show.
Mm-hmm. And
we're surrounded by Royals gear.
Oh, man, there's some good stuff. And if you want to maybe have a chance to get some good stuff and not have to go ahead and fork over some money, why don't you win a gift card? You can come by and register to win one of 4 $100 gift cards at Rally House. The Independence location is where we are broadcasting from today till 2 o'clock off of East 39th Street. Also giving away a pair of tickets to opening day / I guess home opener on Monday. And they're giving out scratcher tickets to the first 100 customers, potentially up to 40% off your next MLB purchase. And, of course, Rally House is your home for authentic Royals gear on the field. Hats, jerseys, apparel, straight from the source. You can level up your fandom at one of the Rally House locations or rallyhouse.com, but hopefully you stop on by the Independence location today. All right, coming up in about 10 minutes or so, we will pivot back into some of our favorite bets and the same question you kind of asked Jake, which is maybe who ends up being the big story of the season. That'll be coming up in 10. I guess we did not mention this off the top of the show. We are expected to have Chiefs' new running back, Kenneth Walker, join us at noon today. So that's expected to be determined, but we expect to have him around noon today, and I'll be interested to talk to him. He had his introductory press conference, but that was obviously it, and that was a couple weeks ago. But he was their big splash signing, and so much is made about this rushing attack and needing to be more explosive. So I'm hoping we can get Kenneth on the show today. He's also a Michigan State grad, so I don't know if he's a big college basketball fan. Michigan State's got a Sweet 16 game tonight.
Yeah, I would think he's at least paying attention to it, even if he's not a huge college basketball fan. I'm torn a little bit, so every time we have these guests on, right, there's the normal stuff. Hey, can you, how do you feel about RPOs? Or, why Kansas City versus the team that won a Super Bowl, right? And the normal stuff that you would ask anybody who's coming on. I try to go on a deep dive, and he doesn't have a lot of public information out there. So one of the, AI whatever, trying to dig up stuff on him, and one, really, I don't know, questionably written piece claimed that he was into anime, gaming, deep sea fishing.
That sounds fun.
And bird watching. And I don't know if any of that is true. But I want to know if any of that is true, because I want to know if he's into deep sea fishing or bird watching. I got to say, you want to talk about, if you're ever worried about, hey, I'd like my players to stay out of trouble. If they're actively into bird watching, I think we're square. I wouldn't worry about you getting in legal trouble, Gold, if your biggest hobby was bird watching.
Well, I was going to say, that's the vibe with Kenneth Walker. It seems like he's all about football and just even-keeled.
And then just kicking it.
And this is not a player you're concerned about having anything like that go on off the field. So we'll hopefully have Kenneth join us, Kenneth Walker at noon, get to know him a little bit. We'll mix in some football, but more importantly, I think at this point in time, given the fact that it's still March. Let's just try to learn a little bit more about him. That's coming up at noon today.
Do you like UConn or Michigan State to win tonight?
Well, I got UConn in the Final Four, so I'll just stick with that only because that was the Final Four.
Is your Final Four still alive?
No, Houston's out. I have 3. I still can get UConn. I can still get Arizona. I can still get Michigan, but I had Houston.
So, Drew, you're still missing one. You're just missing one, right, Drew?
He's missing.
I am missing 1, correct.
Okay.
And that would be Florida.
Trying to remember.
But yeah.
Yeah, Florida really burns you because you had them in
Iowa,
the championship game, didn't you?
I had Florida in the title game, yes. So, my bracket kind of plummeted for that reason, but yeah.
Fair enough.
You still got time. Again, I had Illinois, Duke, Arizona, and Iowa State. And
okay,
I had
still
Illinois versus Arizona in the championship game. So I'm still hovering.
There you go.
Still processing. I have a maximum of 1,700 points still. I'm officially all the way up
to
the 93rd percentile.
There you go.
I've moved way. I was at like 60th in the previous round.
What is your rank? Like it has the rank next to it.
It's still 1 million, dude.
Is it really? Are there that many people still?
1,937,000.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm done now. Now that Houston lot, my max is 1410.
Mine's 17. What percentile did they put you in?
70.
70.
Yeah.
That's still really good. Mine's 93rd percentile. Drew's what's yours?
Yeah, but
like
the rank is like 7.8 million or something.
I'm 1.9 million.
It's crazy.
There's
that
still
many
1.9 million people better than me.
Yeah, it's crazy that many people are better than like in the 93rd percentile. That's kind of wild. I'm down in like the 20th percentile just from Florida alone, just in terms of max points available. Way down because of them. But hey, in the end, I'm here for the basketball. I know that sounds like corny, I guess, but I'm here for the hoops.
All right, coming up next, let's get to some more Royals baseball, some of our favorite season-long bets. Who could end up being the big story of the season? And one coach that is playing tonight or coaching tonight sure feels like he's off the table for North Carolina, and therefore, if Kansas opens up, I don't think he's leaving. We'll tell you who it is next.
What's up, KC? It's Carter Jensen. You're listening to Cody and Gold on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
Maybe last week you had some of the weather hit your roof and you weren't sure which roofing company to call. Century Roofing is the first call you should make if you're getting roofing work done. The reason why is they've done over 35,000 roofs. Over 30 years in Kansas City. Voted best roofing company in Kansas City just last year, thanks to readers over at the Kansas City Star. Look, homeowners should not sign contracts immediately. Get different views. Don't just take high-pressured calls from out-of-state hail chasers knocking on your door trying to work on these things. Work with a roofing company who knows will be in Kansas City and has been in Kansas City for all the time that I had previously mentioned. Homeowners need a warranty that they can trust. Down the line, they'll be there in case there are any problems. Look, they've worked on my roof multiple times. They came and looked at it after the hail. I trust them with my roofing needs, which means you should trust them too. Have an inspection done. Make them your first call. Some insurance companies require you to have multiple calls anyway. Century Roofing needs to be one of those. No matter the style of roof, they can handle it for you. Whether it's composite or tile or anything else in between, metal roofing, which they worked on in mine, they can do that for you. So if you have roofing needs, trust the pillars of strength with female-owned and locally owned and operated Century Roofing. That's centuryroofingkc.com.
Right now, new FanDuel customers can get up to $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. So here's how it works. Place a tournament bet using the token, and if it doesn't win, you'll get up to $300 back in bonus bets every single day for 10 straight days. You can even mix things up with same-game parlays for a shot at a bigger payout. So just visit FanDuel.com/local to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/local. And remember, place a tournament bet using the token, and if it doesn't win, you'll get up to $300 back in bonus bets every single day for 10 straight days. Perhaps you think one of these number one seeds go down later on this week to get us down to just 2 remaining 1 seeds. FanDuel Sportsbook is the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 and President, Missouri. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after receipt. Tokens are received in increments of 1 per day. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hey guys, it's Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch, KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brennan and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Running a business means wearing multiple hats. So if you're like me, you probably started out using your personal phone, taking client calls and texts nonstop. As my business grew, I needed something smarter. That's when I switched to Quo, the #1 business phone system. Quo works right on your phone or computer. No carrying 2 phones, no clunky landline, just one easy app you can try for free. Your team can share one number and handle calls and texts together like a shared inbox. Any teammate can jump into the conversation so customers get faster responses. And Quo's AI assistant summarizes your calls and responds to customers 24/7, so you never miss a lead or opportunity. All this starts at just $15 a month. That's basically 2 coffees. You can even keep your current business phone number. Find out why 90,000 businesses trust Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers. Try Quo for free at quo.com/sports. That's quo.com/sports to try Quo free. QUO.com/SPORTS.
America, look around. Everywhere you go, prices are still high, rates have been whipsawing markets, and the debt and spending don't exactly scream stability. Experts say diversifying with intention is the #1 secret account that all American smart money uses to hedge against instability. Monetary Gold has been around since 2000, witnessing multiple economic setbacks. If you call now, Monetary Gold will cover up to a lifetime of your IRA fees on qualified accounts. Call Monetary Gold now at 877-NOW-GOLD. That's 877-NOW-GOLD. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
African Americans are the most likely to die from colorectal cancer. So please, get screened starting at age 45. Now, Medicare and insurance companies are required to cover not only colonoscopy, but also less invasive exams like virtual colonoscopy. Talk to your doctor about your options. For more information on virtual colonoscopy, visit radiologyinfo.org/virtual CT.
Furnished by the American College of Radiology and the Radiology Health Equity Coalition.
What's up, KC? It's Matt Strahm from the Kansas City Royals. Don't miss Vern's On Deck show 1 hour before first pitch right here on 96.5 The Fan.
KFNZ FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp, Drew Nixon with you. We are broadcasting live from Rally House out in Independence off of East 39th Street. Again, come on by, register to win a pair of tickets to the home opener on Monday, plus 4 $100 Rally House gift cards up for grabs today. And they've been handing out the Rally House opening day scratcher tickets to the first 100 customers could receive up to 40% off your next MLB purchase. We're getting set for opening day. A reminder, coming up at noon, we're expected to have Kenneth Walker calling to the show, so we'll mix in a little Chiefs football today along with some Royals. We'll get to the trash of the day here in about 20 minutes or so. And don't forget, hope to see you guys tonight. So 2 different ways to come hang out with people from the 96.5 The Fan today and enjoy opening day. You can come on out here to Rally House in Independence. Hope to also see you in Overland Park later on tonight at Maloney's in downtown OP, as we'll all be hanging out watching the Royals hopefully get win #1 on the season, open it up against the Atlanta Braves. And we asked Jake Eisenberg just about maybe a name that could end up being a much bigger story that we're not thinking of right now. And it got me thinking also about some of our favorite season-long bets. We already gave our bold predictions earlier in the week.
Yeah.
You know, I said, that I think Matt Quatrera might be manager of the year. You said Jack Kagleon's going to have 35 home runs. I think
Correct.
Drew said Vinny's going to have 45 home runs. So
really good odds
you guys
on that,
can still text in if you want your bold predictions, 913-586-7965. But it's interesting that Jake also said Lane Thomas, because who could end up being a big story? I think you want it to be Jack Kagleon probably and say that, oh my
Or
gosh,
Carter
it all
Jensen,
connected and he hit 30 home runs and all that. I do think maybe he's not the big story, but I do think there's a real chance that Lane Thomas ends up being a huge difference maker for this team, that the guy that the Royals wanted to trade for 2+ years ago when he was on the Nationals ended up getting traded to the Guardians, that player, that there's still that there, which would be a 25 to 30 home run guy that plays center field. And yeah, Kyle Isbell had a career year a season ago, is a great glove, but I need some more pop from that outfield. And if Lane Thomas is able to give me that kind of pop as a bat, that's a huge difference maker. And we could be talking about him in the middle of the season saying, you know, wow, what an offseason acquisition that was.
It very well might end up being, and this is how I hope, this is how I get them to 89, 90 wins, 91 wins, right? And winning the division. The reason why I think they're going to win the division is I think they got the offseason signings right. Lane Thomas being one of them. Last year, you might remember, they didn't do a ton of offseason signings. Carlos Estevez was obviously a portion of that, and that one they got right too. They just stuck with MJ Melendez and stuck with Renfroe and kind of held court. We have undersold the Strahm edition. That was much needed in what was a good bullpen last year. I'm not here to complain on it. We're talking about a bullpen. You said this outfield needs power. You know what else this team needs? Strikeouts out of actual bullpen arms. In 66 games last year, he had 70 of them. In 66 games the year before, he had 79 of them. In 56 the year before that, he had 108 strikeouts. In the last 3 years, Matt Strahm has consistently been one of the better relievers in all of baseball. Really, he's had the one bad year in San Diego in his entire career, and he pitched 6 games that year and then was injured. Outside of that, Matt Strahm has been a consistent, good, tough-to-get-out reliever. In a year where, Estevez still ain't throwing 90, and we are on opening day here for the Royals, and Ursek doesn't look quite as dominant as he did a couple of years ago, and while I think Luinder Avila might be a good story for the Royals later on in the year, he's not a factor here, at least as we talk about this team today on March 27th. And so I think Matt Strahm's addition is undersold at least a little bit. I will say I have softened a little bit. If you had asked me 2 months ago, I thought it was a more than fair question, one that I thought was under-discussed with the Royals, which is, hey, are we just penciling in Michael Garcia to, look like that again? Because the rest of his career does not mirror that.
Did WBC change that for you?
In a lot of ways, it was like, I just watched him go out, yes. In a huge way, yes. Because I had some reservations. Not that I doubted that it could happen, but it's like, a year ago, he hit 230 with a 281 on base. He was a bad major league player. Not a bad. He was still a +4 player, but
average.
He didn't hit very well, especially for a power position at third. He was falling back from 2 years ago when it looked like maybe he was getting ready to burst on the scene. So I was in my head a little worried. Hey, should we be cool a little bit and maybe not just pencil in good Michael Garcia right away, no questions asked. But watching him in the WBC, thinking about his age and when baseball players get better, watching it more, I'm like, no, I do think that Michael Garcia is just this now. Again, all of his numbers don't have to be exactly the same. Batting average, on base percentage. But like Vern had asked us, right, in an email, I'm assuming we'll cover it in pregame today. Some of I think the way he put it was easiest bet, favorite season-long bet, and bet you hate, right, for the way the Royals worked. And for the, I think maybe the easiest money is Michael Garcia hitting over 270.
This is so funny.
That to me.
This is so funny.
Is that really what your answer was?
This is twice today. We have not talked.
We're not trying to.
Earlier
agree.
today, I said, what's your win total? We both wrote it down on a sheet of paper. So, again, we hadn't talked about it. And you and I both wrote down 89 wins. And then now I'm trying to pull up the email I sent to Vern yesterday.
This is not a reply-all situation. We all just
with
reply
mine.
individually.
I'll pull it up. And I want to say I might have had that as well for some of our favorite, our favorite bets going in.
It's just, I think he might be, look, Carter Jensen could win Rookie of the Year. Cags could take a nice leap forward. There is, as Jake pointed out, I think he mentioned it with the pitching staff, the offense. But I think this applies to the entire Royals team. The ceiling on the Royals this year is incredibly high. Very high. I mean, it is. And the floor, I guess, is relatively low. I think the floor is around where the Royals were last year, 82 and 80. With the ceiling being this could be a team in the mid-90s with a chance to easily win the AL Central. Not just, in it till the final week inside of that. And so, there's It's an interesting team for a variety of reasons, and there's a lot of easy predictions to make.
So, yeah, the category, and Vern gave us a list. We can only choose from the list he gave us because there's some other bets I like as well. But your favorite bet, easiest money, and worst bet. So here were the three.
If you answer the same way, I'm going to
die. So, this one you might have answered. Favorite bet, Pasquantino 100 RBI plus 250.
No, that wasn't my favorite.
That's my favorite bet. Because, 100 RBI plus 250 I like. I also have a 50-1 bet on Vinny to lead all baseball, all baseball in RBI.
My favorite bet was Cags over 30 home runs at plus 350.
Okay.
Specifically just like for the odds is why I like it.
Yeah, I was hesitant on that. Look, I'm still buying stock on Cags, but I think 30 might be too big of a jump. But yeah, over 100 RBI for Vinny at plus 250. If I think he's going to lead the big leagues in all RBI at a long shot 50-1 bet, I don't like that, or I don't hate that. Easiest money, I also put Garcia over 270.
Yeah, that was mine.
All right, and then worst bet, I think if you've listened to the show the last couple weeks, you know my feeling. Last year I was extremely high and predicted Carlos would have a career year, and I said he would lead baseball in saves or the American League in saves. My worst bet, Estevez 30 or more saves. I just don't see it, guys.
Let's talk about this for just a minute. We're talking about our favorite bets. And we've talked about the Royals in the opening day, and we can get into this too again at noon when we're talking about our predictions. Where can it go wrong? Like
I think we can pinpoint plenty of areas.
Where are the areas in which it's most likely to have a catastrophic failure?
Well,
because I still think. Do you agree with me on the floor? I think their floor is like 82, 81 and 81, 82 and 80.
I hope
think
so.
The floor is around a 500 team.
I hope so. Where could it go wrong? I mean, like with any baseball team, I think you can point to. It's easier to find those. I think for the Royals in particular, it's for starters that. Let's say Cags doesn't figure it out, and he still struggles and is striking out and gets frustrated and ends up being a disappointment in 2026. I don't think that'll be the case, but that's a big question mark.
In addition to that, they don't get Lane Thomas.
Lane Thomas doesn't come back from being hurt and doesn't look like the same player. The other part is, and this one people have been predicting for 3 years, but at some point will it ever have the whole Salvador Perez part of it? And then the health of the rotation. Does Seth Lugo look like he did the last 2 months last year, or was that just because he had something with his finger or whatever, or is that who he is suddenly? Those are the two, and then the Carlos Estevez part. He maybe just doesn't have the same velocity, and then who's the closer? So you're searching for a closer all year. Those would be the scenarios. If you told me they don't make the playoffs, that they are
all those
78 win team or something like that. I think those are the things that can happen. None of them are all that far-fetched. That's the scary thing. That's that the margins are thin for baseball, and especially still for the Royals. We can be optimistic. You and I both think they're winning 89 games, but it doesn't take much for that to all of a sudden fall right back to 78 to 80.
I know, but like at the same no, I agree to that.
Pitching can regress. The bullpen can regress.
I guess the bullpen feels like a stronger regression candidate to me than the starting rotation. Like I saw that on the text line. Hey, starting pitching regression.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a regression group other than Noah Cameron, right? Like the rest of it is
to what extent
established
does he regress? Yeah.
and known and understanding. I just want to point out, last year's starting pitching for the Royals was 7th in baseball. Despite that, the year before they were 2nd in baseball. Despite that, the year before that, even without some of that's where you go back. When they didn't have these starters, they were 27th. You want to know why they weren't good a couple of years ago? Then they brought in all these starting pitchers, and I don't think the starting pitching is the likely to regress group. Like, you want to talk me into, like, I could more easily have been talked into, again, a couple of weeks ago, Michael Garcia having a regression, or Vinny Pasquantino's coming off a career year. Not saying it's going to happen. Career high in RBI, home runs, average. Like, he essentially broke all of his metrics. And I just think he just is peaking at a time in which baseball players typically have their best seasons. But, like, you want to tell me bullpen regression? I'll listen. I'll hear you out. I also think they have more options at bullpen if there are regression issues than they did last year.
To close, though, do they? Do they
that's
really?
just where, like, I still think you could just turn it to Avila. But in
he's
fairness,
not,
to close is a challenge.
But they're not
going to do that right away.
Even if Carlos struggled in April, they're not going to just call up Avila right away. Now, by July or June, different conversation.
But it can't, like, have gone really
And hopefully, hopefully, in 3 weeks we're sitting here and say, wow, remember when everybody was talking about the velocity? Oh, it's back for Carlos. He's got it back, and he's just a slow starter, and this is just who he is. And I hope that's the case.
I hope so too.
But I'll tell you this: that tonight, if he gets a save opportunity to close, and the velocity's down, nobody should be shocked by that. I'll be actually more shocked if his velocity's back to 94. just like that tonight. I don't expect it to get back up velocity-wise for another week or two if it ever gets to that point.
It's very, I mean, I'll give him, like you said, 2 weeks, and then if the velocity's not back to normal or if he's not able to get outs throwing 90 miles an hour, well, then we got a problem. And it's a completely different conversation with the team. I know we'll talk more Royals baseball coming up in just a little bit. Obviously, we've got the Chiefs Red Half Hour coming up your way, our brief sidestep into that. And Kenneth Walker coming up today at noon. But
are you going to call him K9? The text line says we should call him Ken.
Call him whatever he wants to be called.
We'll
Ken,
ask.
Kenny,
We'll
Kenneth.
ask. I don't think it's Kenny.
You don't think it's Kenny?
I don't think it's Kenny. No, I don't. I think
so?
it's Kenneth Walker or K9 or Ken. We'll find out. We'll ask him.
Ken feels like an older, like as you get older, you go by Ken,
Ken. Instead of Jeffrey, it's Jeff.
Yeah, I don't know. Just feels like, maybe it's because I got an Uncle Ken. That might be what it is.
Okay.
That might be why I'm
We're going to get to the
associating it
important
with.
questions with Kenneth Walker. We're going to get to the real important stuff.
Do you know how to run behind in the hole in the NFL? Because that would be really question one for this running game. Can you run behind Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey in the spot in which they've designated an area for you to run?
In 6 minutes, we'll get to the trash of the day, but I want to pivot to college hoops. Sweet 16 last night continues tonight, and throughout the week we've been discussing potential change at Kansas if, in fact, Bill Self decides to retire. Still no news on that, and now it feels like we may have to wait till early next week to see some determination on his future, whether or not he's going to retire. And the UNC job is already opened up, and so naturally these coaches have been asked that are at the Sweet 16 about their interest in the UNC job. And as we played the audio yesterday, Tommy Lloyd sounded different than TJ Oselberger. Tommy Lloyd at Arizona, Oselberger at Iowa State. And Oselberger was talking with Jeff Goodman, and this feels different than the other coaches. I'm starting to really buy in that truly, as surprised as I am, I think TJ Oselberger
is
going to stay at Iowa State. Listen to this.
TJ Oselberger is not in the mix at Carolina by his own doing, not by Carolina's doing. He was in that first tier according to sources. And TJ Oselberger, man, give him credit. He's a different dude because most guys would walk from Ames to Chapel Hill. And he loves it there. He loves Jamie Pollard. He's loyal. And, they're going to take care of him. He's obviously built up equity here. He's got 3 Sweet 16s in 5 years. And the family part of it is huge for him, right? He's got kids that are, in the age of 9, 11 years old. So I think he was worried a little bit, too, about like, hey, how does this change everything for me? I go to Carolina, it's a fishbowl. Right, I'm never going to see my family.
He's one of the rare ones that I actually think I'm buying in more and more.
I hear the opposite of that after all these other coaches.
I'm buying in more and more. Like truly, I don't think that's BS. Like I actually believe, especially if it's true from Goodman's report, that he pulled himself out of the UNC job already, is what he's claiming, and so that's very telling. That is a big deal. It's versus Tommy Lloyd saying, "I already have the best job, and I'm just focused on right now." He wasn't talking about the future. So Tommy Lloyd, I thought, answered it and is handling it way different. At the very least, Tommy Lloyd is going to get a massive raise over at Arizona. But TJ Oselberger is not the norm. He is still the outlier here. And don't expect this to just be what everybody is doing. Like just because Oselberger is at Iowa State and may be staying doesn't mean we should expect everybody that's at a mid-tier Power 5 conference or Power 5 school. And Iowa State's become more than that in basketball at least. But in the grand scheme of things, Iowa State financially is not a top 3 or 4 program in the Big 12.
We also just know that people lie. So I don't want to say that like Oselberger might be the case in which he's telling the truth. And it does come off as genuine, based on the way he's describing it. But players, like all the time, we coaches say, I'll never leave.
But this report is saying he pulled his name out of the UNC job.
That, to me, is where it's different. And look, maybe we have played, I'm not kidding, short of 5 clips probably in the last year on this show of coaches being like, I practically hate my family. Hope to never see them. I love working. Want to work 24 hours a day. I get to see my kid for 30 minutes. It's the best day of their life when they see me. If Oselberger's real thing is my kids are 11 and 12, and this allows me to give them consistency in their life, give me consistency in my life, at least until they're 18 years old. Because at Oselberger's age, it's like, you know what? If I'm 55 and I'm still crushing at Iowa State and somebody wants to give me a bigger job, well then when my kids are in college and my life is squared away and my kids are older, I can take on that risk. that's a good way to look at it. Like, kids at that age is tough.
It's
tough.
He was at Iowa State, then he left. He was at UNLV briefly, then the job opened at Iowa State, and he went back to Iowa State.
Yeah. And look, maybe now at this point, he's just settled into it. I'm surprised just because it's UNC and it's Kansas. Those are big enough jobs that, like.
Well, and Kansas isn't open yet, so maybe it is a different feeling if that job opened up because it's still the Midwest. I don't know. That's the one thing. All the questions are about UNC because the Kansas job is not open.
Yeah.
We still don't know for sure.
When do you think we'll know?
I think early next week. Yeah.
I hope not. Yeah, I was going to say, I hope it's not like
the portal. We all
today.
know the April 7th is the day after the national title game or whatever is when the portal opens up. So we'll see how it plays out. But I thought that was much different than what we've heard from Tommy Lloyd and maybe some other potential
Lloyd
names.
he gave the political answer, which maybe his agent told him to do. Maybe he doesn't have any plans to leave Arizona.
Yeah.
But he gave the political answer. Oh, I have the best job. That's like that is not a yes or a no. That's simply just saying, oh, no, I have the best job. Do you? Because Kansas isn't open, so you can say that now. Maybe then Kansas is the best job. You have the best job right now that's open, maybe, in your mind, if you're Tommy Lloyd or outside of that. It doesn't mean he'll still take the job. I don't know. And again, like you said, we still don't even know about Kansas.
All right, let's get to the trash of the day.
Trash of the day.
All right, this one takes us to Michigan. You might have seen this circulating around from CBS News yesterday. So there was a Michigan judge who, via video call or whatever, had like a court hearing, okay?
Okay.
A woman joined for a court appearance while driving and lied about it. Well, take a listen.
You cannot be driving, ma'am. What are you doing? Come on.
I'm not driving. I'm a passenger in a car.
You're still not. I'm not hearing cases with people driving or as passengers in cars.
Okay, I will pull over right
Short
now.
of us coming out to everybody's house and doing these on boats and stuff in the summer, I don't know.
I'm sorry, I have an emergency. I'm going out of town for a family member, but I will have my driver pull over. Hang on 1 second. I'm sorry. I didn't know that I wasn't allowed to be in a car, but hang on 1 second.
Am I crazy, or does it not look like you're driving that car?
I'm not driving the car. I'm a passenger in the car, sir.
What side of the car are you on?
I'm on the left-hand side.
How would you be on the left-hand side if you're a passenger in the front seat? Am I missing something?
Right-hand side. I'm sorry. I've been sitting in a room. I didn't know.
Yeah, the seatbelt's coming off of the driver's side. Right? Now you're lying to me, right?
No, I'm not, sir.
Let me see the driver.
Hang on 1 second.
Now.
I have to ask their permission.
Now.
By the way, right now in the video, she's now getting out of the car from clearly the left side of the vehicle.
So
and and that's how the video ends. I mean, it's
now,
clearly lying. She wasn't supposed to be driving while she was in the middle of a court hearing, obviously.
What an awful, awful, awful decision. Even if you think this thing's going to take 30 minutes, Gold, what are you, late for an airport?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I can't imagine that judge is going to...
Well, no, what he did was he entered a judgment by default because the woman was lying to him. So that was the conclusion to that. But she kept denying it. She eventually pulls over in the gas station and steps out of the driver's side of the car. Still was denying it, just flat out lying. What an idiot.
I got to say, the boldness to lie about it, when he can see you, turn the video off. What side of the car are you on? Video off right there. Be like, oh, sorry, officer, just having the driver pull over. Like, I can actively see you steering the wheel, ma'am. Are you sure you're going to try to claim to me that you're not in the car? This has got to go down to one of the dumbest criminals of all time. This is insane. It's on video.
Yeah.
Video, and you can hear how angry that judge is.
Someone said maybe it was an import, one of those Nissan GTRs from Japan, where the right-handed drive car. No, don't think so.
She might have been better off trying that lie instead of the one you're doing. The fact that he very quick on his feet was like, show me the driver. She's like, I got to ask her permission. Show them to me right now. You're like, if you're the passenger, just show. This isn't for public consumption. Show me the person. All-timer. That's an all-timer. That lady's like, no, I'm not lying to you. What was the original case over that she was appearing in court for?
That's a great question. Actually,
because if it's a driving violation, then that's even better. And most likely, that is most of the, most of the issues, I guess. Adamantly denying.
Southeast Michigan judge. The hearing took place on Monday. Video conference allowed on a case-by-case basis. Zoom involved the woman in a car was one of multiple cases recorded on the judge's live stream. I don't know if it says what the initial reason was for being on that.
I know it turns out the one time we covered that guy, he was like...
the judge said his order for it was just a judgment, so I don't know if it was actually full-blown criminal. Is it the judgment of $1,921 will reflect the defendant was not available and then was driving a car telling the court she was not. Have a great day. Thank you, he said as he ended the hearing. So I don't know exactly. This might have been a fairly minor thing initially. It just was a judgment maybe for...
They've since issued a statement, by the way. I want to be clear that I take responsibility for my mistake. Appearing on a Zoom court hearing while I was driving was poor judgment, and I regret that decision. I panicked in the moment and made the wrong call instead of pulling over and asking to reschedule. For that, I am truly sorry. I mean, it's just like... Someone says, she said at the same time, I believe what has happened since has gone far beyond addressing a mistake. The brief
she's
moment
getting publicly
of poor
embarrassed,
has turned into a viral spectacle that is affecting my reputation. Lady, no one asked you to lie about your... Gold, if I saw you, I was like, hey, man, are you driving? And you're like, no. And you're just steering a wheel. I'd be like, the hell are you lying to me about this for? I can see you.
Yeah.
I am human. I made a mistake.
That is the trash of the day. One person, welcome to the show. We appreciate new listeners all the time. Says, don't you guys cover sports? Well, we do. It's amazing. We do, but we spend about 4 minutes in the 11 o'clock hour every day doing the trash of the day, which usually is not sports. But I promise you, we will get back to talking sports very, very soon. In fact, the Chiefs Red Half Hour is coming up next. We'll get into whether or not there is a real debate between a couple GMs, and my guess is a new mock draft sounder next.
What's up, KC? It's Matt Strahm from the Kansas City Royals. You're listening to Cody and Gold on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
Obviously, awesome basketball action last night. More tonight. That's where you can get in on the fun over at Underdog, where it's the best place to get in on the action because you can make entries and win money right now in Missouri. You just got to choose your favorite players to go higher or lower on stats like rebounds, assists. Plus, you can mix and match sports. So that means you can get in on the baseball action tonight. Maybe you like Kags to go higher than 0.5 home runs tonight. I do. Or Boozer tonight to go higher than 21.5 points. All of those options available, and you can pair them together over at Underdog. Plus, all the different ways to play. Drafts, ladders, streaks, pick'ems, and champions, and so many more, giving you the ability to choose those over at Underdog. So download the app today. Use promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to score $50 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Underdog, make plays, win money. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/playing-your-terms. _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-MY-RESET or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Only $59.99 guaranteed. That's right. Don't just cut back. Stop smoking once and for all. Also, lose all the weight you want. Only $59.99 guaranteed with Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Let hypnosis destroy unwanted cravings, late day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating, and lose the weight. Weight Loss Hypnosis, Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City, 5:30 p.m. Stop Smoking Hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
This is Kevin Harlan, and if I sound a little tired, it's because it's Ford Truck Month at Rob's Side Ford.
You and me both, Kevin. It's been nonstop.
Well, Rob, remind me again why.
Because Rob's Site Ford is offering brand new F-150s up to $16,500 off, 0% financing for 60 months, and 0 payments for 90 days.
Yes, that'll do it.
And that's just the F-150s. We've got the best deals of the year on Super Duty, Ranger, and Maverick.
Okay, so let me get this straight, Rob. Massive savings, strong financing, no payments for 3 months, and people are showing up?
It's nonstop.
Funny how that works.
Turns out, when you've got the inventory, the price, and the experience, people notice.
Especially when you're Kansas City's #1 top-rated Ford dealer on Google. 4.8 stars and over 3,000 reviews.
And Kansas City's top volume F-150 dealer.
No wonder you're tired. It's Ford Truck Month at Rob's Side Ford. 135th and State Line, or robsite.com.
But don't wait. These offers end soon.
Well, we finally made it. It's spring, and I have spring fever. I love getting outside and cooking on the flat top or the grill, and Hy-Vee has the best meat department in KC. They've got the freshest, top-quality cuts of corn-fed beef from the Midwest and the best prices in town. They also have bacon-wrapped chicken breast and stuffed pork chops, plus the fresh seafood we love at home. Make it a meal with a twice-baked potato. It's the best meat department in town. They've got the steaks, they've got the chicken, they've got the seafood, and you can get it only at Hy-Vee.
3, 2, 1. It's mid-March, and Kansas City is crazy about college hoops. Pick your bracket, call your friends, and count on Hy-Vee for all your game day snacks. Hy-Vee makes your watch party easy with a huge selection of ready-to-serve party trays, boneless wings, barbecue, sushi, pizza, and fresh bakery goods. Order ahead through the Hy-Vee app, online, or at your favorite store. Even if your bracket is a bust, your watch party will be a winner, only at Hy-Vee.
Feeling the heat? Don't sweat it. Turn to Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling. With temperatures rising, now's the time to make sure your AC is ready to keep you cool. Whether it's your home or your business, Comfort Systems services both residential and commercial systems across the Kansas City area. Call today for a fast tune-up, repair, or a system upgrade so you can stay cool all summer long. Family owned and operated since 1990, comforting people is what we do. Comfort Systems is right for you. MyComfortSystems.com.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
Pump up the volume.
Business moves fast. Orders roll in, deadlines close in. When you ship with USPS Ground Advantage, you can keep up with confidence. Every package stays in our secure network from dock to door. And with nationwide reach, dependable tracking, and upfront affordable pricing, you get built-in peace of mind. You run the business. We run the routes. Visit USPS.com/Ground Advantage to learn more.
How was your break?
It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code WAGON for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code WAGON for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's WAGON.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Brought to you by Kalshi. Trade on anything.
March matchups are here. Trade the tournament in all 50 states on Kalshi. St. John's is trading at 29% to beat Duke. A $100 trade pays out $328 if they win. Download the Kalshi app and use code FAN to get $10 off when you trade. KALSHI. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this.
Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
Chiefs Red Half Hour brought to you by Leavenworth PD. Be a cop, be yourself. Build your career at Leavenworth PD. Apply today at leavenworthks.gov. Chiefs.com/police. Reminder, coming up in a half hour, we're expected to have Kenneth Walker call into the show, Chiefs running back. Looking forward to get to know him a little bit, find out how the rest of the offseason is going. Frankly, what made him leave a team he just won a Super Bowl with and was a Super Bowl MVP. He's one of the, I think, maybe the fourth player ever to win Super Bowl MVP and then the very next season not be back with his, at that time, current team, but he ends up in Kansas City. I love the signing. You guys know that. I think we all acknowledge they had to get more explosive. Maybe some of you preferred they went the draft route. I think this was the better path. So we'll talk to Kenneth Walker coming up at noon today right here on your home for the Chiefs, 96.5 The Fan. We will get back to the Royals in the noon hour as well. It is opening day. Royals, Braves tonight right here on 96.5 The Fan. Vern's on deck show gets going, at 5 o'clock tonight, I believe it would be, if I have my time zones and everything correct, as the Royals open up on the road with Reagans against Sale. We are currently broadcasting live from Rally House in Independence off of East 39th Street. Hope you guys have a chance maybe in your lunch break coming up to stop on by. We've had a lot of people stop by to register to win one of those 4 $100 Rally House gift cards. Also, a pair of tickets to the home opener on Monday when the Royals take on the Twins. Plus, I still think they have a couple of those scratcher tickets left. First 100-plus customers through the door will receive one of those opening day scratcher tickets. You could get up to 40% off your next MLB purchase. So don't forget to level up your fandom at one of their local stores or, of course, at rallyhouse.com. But today, come on by to Independence, hang out a little bit. Always enjoy talking to you guys. It's funny,
you'll find something you like, I can assure you.
Well, I've already found a new polo. So
okay.
I will be buying a new polo to rock on opening day, Cody, because it's going to be a beautiful day at Kauffman. But we'll get back to Royals, I promise, in just a little bit. But, Cody, let's discuss something that Drew and I were giving you a hard time for this because, look, we have our rundown. We put things, what we're going to talk about, and sometimes stuff gets moved around. There's days where we think we're going to talk about something, we never get to it, or it gets bumped the next day, whatever happens, okay? And a lot of times there's the obvious stuff you talk about, and sometimes only Cody will see something, or I'll see something, or you got a thought, or whatever. Drew has a thought, whatever it may be. Drew and I are confused on this one because you put in a link.
It's correct.
And said, hey, let's talk about the comments from this. Like, it must be like an article, must be a columnist.
It's over at Arrowhead Pride.
It is over at Arrowhead Pride. It must be like from a columnist or whatever. No, it's from the user Nathan of Brain Fertilizer fame. Yes.
Oh, he can't have a voice on this show?
Oh, he can have an opinion, but that's who you're I got to hear this. Nathan of Brain Fertilizer fame is the user that you want
on the show is what we should have done, actually. That's what should have happened.
First off, I don't even know what Brain Fertilizer is, let alone the fame of such. Sounds like a multi-level marketing scheme, not going to lie. But I think the timing of it is what caught my eye. He put up a fan post on Arrowhead Pride, and it had said, Dorsey versus Veach. Veach is clearly the better GM. And this came out, I'm not kidding, maybe 5 hours gold after we were discussing John Dorsey and Brett Veach as it relates to talent evaluation in the NFL draft on the show. And I brought it up because, first, I want to say that that's not up for debate. No one that I know on the planet is actually making the argument that John Dorsey is or was a better general manager than Brett Veach was. So I want to make that very clear. But there are a couple of premises that I disagree with from our friend Brain Fertilizer.
I can't believe you're using this. Okay.
What?
Okay.
Whatever jump starts the brain, you know?
Brain Fertilizer.
It's worthy of a conversation. We could talk about the Truman Sports Complex plan.
Oh, yeah, you missed it. I want to get
here.
to that. I want to get to the big announcement you missed yesterday, Cody. It was such a big announcement.
Huge. Can we talk about that in the Chiefs Red Half Hour in a minute? It relates to both the Chiefs and the Royals, so it plays for both. But he was the first premise he put is, one, GMs don't pick Hall of Fame players. They are unpredictable. If anyone were that good, their top pick each season would be a Hall of Famer. Get the hell out of here. No one's saying that every GM needs to be perfect, but GMs absolutely pick Hall of Fame players, and the GMs who are better at finding those top-end talent deserve credit for doing as much. John Dorsey, as the general manager of record, has picked multiple Hall of Fame players. I don't think that that's just like not of note.
So I think maybe it's worded wrong, but I get what he was maybe trying to say, which is, yes, Brett Veach doesn't go into the draft next month in Pittsburgh at pick number 9, pick a player and say, Hall of Famer, pick 29, Hall of Famer.
But they do say this person has a potential to be a Hall of Fame player.
Sure.
And he's better at identifying
You hope every pick could be a Hall of Famer. I think John Dorsey was unbelievable about unbelievable about drafting pillars and star players that happen to be, yes, Cody, future Hall of Famers, Chris Jones, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. I understand the Brett Veach story, but John Dorsey was the GM of record. But I don't think John Dorsey drafted those players saying, oh, yeah, Chris Jones, I got to draft this guy's a Hall of Famer.
Travis Kelce.
Travis Kelce in the 3rd round. Oh,
Eric
yeah.
Berry.
So that's my only point. You're right. He has absolutely drafted Hall of Fame players, guys that he thought had high potential. You don't draft them otherwise. But I don't think a GM ever goes in a draft thinking, I just draft 3 Hall of Famers.
No, but, you get credit when you do.
Of course. 1,000%.
You know?
1,000%.
You get credit. Just saying, a GM's not responsible for the end drafting a Hall of Fame player, that's just luck, and we should talk about coaching. Well, that goes back to the other point for John Dorsey. He was actively hurt on some of the coaching in the early part until, of course, he was Andy Reid right away.
The key is that
the
star.
But he didn't have a good quarterback.
The key is at what we view as the star positions, the valuable positions. John Dorsey at tight end, at quarterback, at defensive end, or defensive lineman, I guess I should say, pass rusher. Whereas Brett Veach, it's been at center, it's been at guard. It's been at corner, though. Trent McDuffie. I know they traded him, but at corner, he found a guy that has a chance to have a very, very long career, one of the top corners in football, McDuffie. Who's that star receiver eventually? Who's that next star tight end? Or who's that star pass rusher? Now, Karlaftis is a very, very good draft pick. Future Hall of Famer? No, he's not going to be that. But Karlaftis and Trent McDuffie are the two you would actually point to. Considering positional value, those to me should be the 2 picks at the very top of the list that you're kind of most proud of. I understand Trey Smith has turned out to be unbelievable valuable, so much value for this team. But I think based off of positional value and when we talk about pillars for the organization, well, McDuffie and Karlaftis would actually be the answers.
What's crazy, and he only decided to pay one of them.
Yep.
He's obviously gotten 2 more picks out of the Trent McDuffie one, 4 picks out of the Trent McDuffie one. So, he'll have a chance to take that valued asset and turn it into more valuable assets. So no one's saying he can't do that. Again, the argument is not, the better overall drafter and the better cap management has by far been.
The cap part was where he got in trouble.
What's crazy is the overall part, I give Brett Veach a lot of credit. Brett Veach was very, 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 very good at finding guys in the later rounds. But, to the point, and it's not just Dorsey, it's other GMs, right? Pioli, whoever. It's you got to be able to find stars sometimes. We always talk about where they pick in the first round. Sometimes you got to find stars in the 2nd or 3rd or 4th round. That's just the way it is. You do occasionally. If you're a GM for a decade, you should find your version of Puka Nacua in the 5th. Once in a decade.
Well,
I'm not saying
that
all
exact
the time.
example is a tough one.
Well, Tyreek Hill was in town. Travis Kelce in the 3rd. Chris Jones in the 2nd. You should be able to find a star player in the 2nd round or after.
But again, what are you listing?
In a decade.
But what are you listing though? You're listing. It's because they're at the primary. They're at the key valuable positions.
Because he did find that maybe in Creed Humphrey. In fairness,
Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith. Hell, I know people now have a differing opinion on Pacheco, but for the 7th round, they got everything possible out of a 7th round pick.
Same with Najee Johnson and Joshua Williams,
and maybe they have one in Noel Williams. We'll find out with the 3rd round or whatever.
Yeah.
But the issue has been, and this is the year when you have a pick at 29, at 9, 29, and 40. Out of those, it can't just be, they drafted another really good linebacker. It has to be, one of those has to be the next star pass rusher or the next star corner or the next star wide receiver or tight end, I guess, if you think they're going to go that direction. It has to be at a more valuable position.
Oh, look at that timing.
You hear that? You hear that?
Does your brain feel fertilized after that conversation, though? That's the real question.
I don't know.
Jay Binkley's did yesterday when we played the Sounder.
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh, did you guys get a Sounder 2 days in a row?
We did.
I thought we were limiting ourselves to twice a week, but Binkley was in, so you had to. Was it their mock draft you guys talked about?
Yes. Okay. It was the one that we talked about last week, but we had to, get the opinion straight from Bink.
Yeah, sure. That's fair.
So this one, we're going to go back to a place we've been before. A to Z Sports did a 4-round mock draft. This is a combination of 3 different places. Well, I mean, in fairness, you did mention first, third, second, and second, and third, and 4th round. So here we go. You got one. Rob Gregson, Brandon Little, and Kyle Krabs combined to make
Kyle Krabs?
Yes, we've done this.
We've done
a mock from Kyle Krabs before previously.
Okay.
Different year, but yeah.
Okay. This one is not from. So the pick at 9 is not from Kyle Krabs. Instead, it's from Gregson. At number 9, he has them taking Jordan Tyson, wide receiver, out of Arizona State. So right along the lines of the wide receiver thing. Yeah.
He goes 12th.
I was going to say, so they pass.
Caleb Downs goes 11th.
So they take Tyson over Mansour Delane, Downs, and David Bailey. The Bengals passing on David Bailey also is stunning. It doesn't make any sense why this would actually happen, but hey, you never know.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about having those guys on the board. Specifically,
I would hate
David
to pick
Bailey.
less if all those guys were gone. Because they got Ruben Bain going in the top 5 and Bailey being the player who slides in step.
So that's, look, groupthink's dangerous, so I'm not saying he has to have everybody else's opinion, but I would say it's surprising to think that Ruben Bain would go 7 spots before David Bailey.
It is surprising to hear that.
Okay.
Sliding down to 29, Jermon McCoy, cornerback out of Tennessee at 20. Now, which is interesting. So, Jermon McCoy, one thing to watch, Bink will be watching you guys.
He's the guy who got hurt, right? We've talked about him.
He didn't play at all last year. He's going to be in the pro day on March 31st. That is a highly anticipated pro day because if he looks good, he's not going to be there at 29. He's going way earlier than that.
So no edge players at 9 and 29. That's interesting. They better be taking one at 40 in this conversation.
Getting to 40,
signed Cam Jordan earlier.
Getting to 40, they take Gabe Jackas, who is one of Bink's guys, edge rusher out of Illinois at number 40. And then getting down to the third round, they're
at 74 there, right?
Yes, pick 74. He has, or A to Z Sports has them taking Jennings Dunker, offensive tackle from Iowa.
That's a great,
very good offensive lineman name. Yes,
Jennings Dunker. That just sounds like a good offensive lineman.
Jennings Dunker.
Dunker, Creed, and Trace Smith, all
And then in the fourth round,
the right side.
And then in the fourth round, Charles Demings, cornerback out of Stephen F. Austin.
So wait. Oh, see, I hate this.
Two corners, wide receiver.
2 corners, a wide receiver, an offensive tackle, and a single edge rusher?
Yep.
Where's the math on that?
I don't like the position.
If you got that many picks that high in the draft, where's the logic in that being the breakdown?
Must be just rebuilding the defense up because you lose 3 of your best D-backs and.
I've said this before. There's less questions about the defensive line than some of the other units, even though people don't want to admit that.
I still think it's the number one concern a month out. Yesterday we started the show with talking about that with Bink, and I think still defensive line is my biggest concern right this second. I'll feel a lot better if they sign a veteran or 2 before the draft, but if they don't sign a veteran or 2 and then this is the positional breakdown that they actually were to draft.
What are they doing?
It doesn't make any sense.
They would get Trent McDuffie and then spend 2 valuable picks on corner, but none on defensive line, 1 on wide receiver.
None
on tight end.
At 40, they did defensive line.
Yeah, but just the 1 pick.
But I think that people, again, this is from a national perspective. I think people nationally genuinely think they lost Trent McDuffie, who's an All-Pro, and Jalen Watson and Brian Cook. You have to fill that room. I think is what people think.
They do not value corner. I don't know how else to say this about Brett Veach. I think that this is no longer an opinion-based, in my opinion, conversation, and instead a straight-up fact. The Kansas City Chiefs do not value the cornerback position from a draft asset perspective or from a contract perspective. They have spent a first-round pick, I understand that, on Trent McDuffie. Other than that, they've spent nothing but 6th and 7th on them, and they never pay them. The last 3 corners they have taken in the first round, they haven't paid. They don't as an organization.
Noah Williams, I don't disagree totally.
Noah
Williams was a third. Yeah, thank you. Exactly. Noah Williams was a third.
That's 1 in the entire
break. No, but I'm
1
just saying,
first, 1 third, and a bunch of 6th.
How far off of that though is what they? So he has them taken.
I also think
in the first round and the fourth.
Know about Noah Williams, but
yeah, I think that he has them taken a corner in the first and the fourth. That's along the lines of the track record of Brett Veach if you include the McDuffie pick in a round later than Noah Williams. I don't know if it's
not in the same draft. That's 2 assets. That's 2 good assets in the same draft. If you look at the Chiefs draft picks by years, they've never put that much. That the idea of that is I'm going to take 2 corners and replace Trent McDuffie with 2 guys because I get a first and a fourth. I'm going to spend a first and a fourth with him, and outside of that, we're just going. They don't historically do that, Drew. Even in the year in which they took Trent McDuffie, I can't remember exactly. I don't think they took another corner later in that draft once they took him. Maybe another secondary guy, but they certainly didn't double dip and take another. They took a safety. They did not even take another corner in that draft, unless you count Najee Johnson, who came out as a safety and then eventually played a little bit of both for them. I'll just give you the last 4 years. They took a third rounder in Noah Williams. That's a decently high draft.
Josh Williams the 4th.
Josh Williams the 4th was
3 years ago, right? 4 years ago.
Yeah. So last year they took 1 in the third round. 0 corners taken the year before that. 1 corner taken in the 7th round. The year before that, Joshua Williams in the 4th. Okay,
and that same year they drafted McDuffie in first.
This fall, this is the exact 2022 draft, first round and fourth round corner.
The year before that in 2021, 1 in the 7th. The year before that in 2020, 1 in the 6th. The year before that. They don't value the position. No. I understand they've spent an asset on it before, but they don't they're not spending a first and a fourth in the same draft, in my opinion.
I understand that, but in 2022 they drafted McDuffie and then Josh Williams in the first and fourth round. This is the exact same as that, and they drafted an edge in George Karlaftis later in the first round. This is just, I think you're
But
flipping
they still had
40.
Frank Clark, and they still had a defensive line.
Sure, but I think that I don't know if it's as far-fetched, I guess, of this being an idea. I think it's more of, if Bailey's there at 9, you take David Bailey, no questions asked, you run to the table or the podium, give the card to Roger Goodell, and then from there you figure things out as they go. Maybe you take a wide receiver at 29 instead, or maybe you do take a corner at 29 and a wide receiver in the second round at 40. But it seems like from the idea perspective is they lost a lot in the DB room, and that's where they need to go even more than edge rusher now because of the guys that they lost.
Nationally, it's if you, and I'm sure we do this with other teams when we're not in that particular market as well. I think this was also the thought where naturally people across the country thought the Chiefs' offensive line has all these holes, and I'm like, no, they don't. Like, I'm not saying Jalen Moore isn't a question mark, but this idea that that their offensive line is bad, it's people that late last year were watching them play and forgot that Josh Simmons was out and forgot that they were down to their third string, and that was to me just what happens sometimes when you're not in the market. Corner, do they need to draft somebody at corner? Yes. Of course they do. At some point they're going to have to draft one. I think the organization, this is the disconnect part with front office and coaching staff, and you can say, well, if they really like Noah Williams, how come he didn't play more? I think nationally, nobody knows who Noah Williams is nationally, and that's fine, and nobody probably should. But if you told me it's, let's call it a first-round pick or a third-round pick, whatever it is, on a corner, and then that corner with Christian Fulton, with Noah Williams, in a year in which we have all kind of acknowledged they have a lot of holes to fill in the offseason, that's not crazy to think that that's the cornerback room. Plus the guy from Miami they signed.
Yeah, the 1 year,
starts with K. I already forgot his name.
But, here's the thing, I guess, about it too, Drew, for me, at 29, in the first round in general, I don't think the Chiefs should draft a first-round corner at all. And the reason why is for the same reason I just said. They don't value the position. If you're not going to pay Trent McDuffie, you're not paying anybody. What the hell are you spending a first-round pick on a corner? If you're not going to pay him, don't spend first-round picks on him. I'm not interested in using a first-round pick and not paying.
If he's good enough, then I think you have to take one. If you think he's good enough,
I'm good. After pick 40 and later is good for me.
No, but if you think he's a future All-Pro or just a
start, they let him leave.
Yeah, because they didn't want to make him the highest paid corner in NFL history means that they don't want to ever draft a high quality corner.
They have taken 3 straight first round corners and not paid any of them in his organization. They don't pay corner.
And they've got in overall, but they haven't done it though.
They have the Super Bowls though because Trent McDuffie is a massive part of it.
I'm not saying they haven't. I'm saying stop.
Why stop? It's helped their defense and they've helped lead them to Super Bowls.
Well, the Trent McDuffie one did. The other two obviously were not a part of Super Bowl run, so it's different. Like the Marcus Peters ones, but that's
you're going back to a prior regime.
I know. I'm just saying as an organization that has been a
I know, but you and I differ on this a lot, and this happens with the Royals too. I don't care. This was the whole quarterback conversation. We know historically, after they drafted Todd Blackledge, they never spent a first-round pick on a quarterback until Patrick
I think that was a Clark.
That was a mistake. But in general, unless you think it was an ownership thing, what happened in 2004 for the Chiefs front office means Jack, you know what, Brett Veach now or whatever. That's all I'm saying.
So take out the first-round pick. They just won't pay any corner.
They've
let them all leave. So I don't want to spend a first-round pick on someone I'm not willing to pay. My thing on first-round picks, and you know this, is that they got to be a second contract guy.
Yeah, paying is a different conversation than saying they won't draft a corner.
No, I'm not. I never said they wouldn't. I'm saying don't.
But why?
Don't
why not?
Because every first-round pick I take, I want to be a second-round. I want to be a second contract guy.
Sure, but
they have paid 0 corners under Brett Veach. None.
But in Trent McDuffie's case, he needed, clearly, as we saw the contract with the Rams, to be the highest paid corner in NFL history, and they got 4 draft picks back for him. We're acting like they just let him walk and they drafted him, got nothing out of him, and let him walk. They got rings with him on the roster, and now they got to execute the picks. They got an additional first-round pick to potentially go find the next guy. Now, do I think they should go spend number 9 on a corner? I actually don't. I don't think it should be number 9. But this idea that because you won't give a guy a second contract means you shouldn't value the 4 years that you might have a top-tier corner.
First-round picks are second contract guys for me. They just are.
Or you flip them for another first-round pick when the time comes.
Yeah.
If you tell me I'm not going to get a second contract for the player, but I get a first-round pick back, to me the Chiefs executed it fine. They got their value back.
It's just crazy. They just do not pay any of them. It doesn't matter whether they're going to be the highest-paid guy or they're going to make Charvarius Ward or L'Jarius Sneed and look, they got ejected on that one at the right time, but they let them all leave. It does not matter who you are, corner. It doesn't matter if you're Joshua Williams, Charvarius Ward, Trent McDuffie, It doesn't matter. They just don't pay him. And we've talked about this.
That
with,
part's
first
true.
round
I
pick,
don't dispute that.
The first round pick part. That's just that goes back to running back and why you and I don't like Jeremiah Love. Part of the reason I don't like Jeremiah Love at 9 is I got to be assured that I'm getting in a lot of ways for me, 8 years is better than 4 years in the picks. Unless you get the picks right? You get this right? And I'm not against the trade. It's just why I wouldn't take a first-round corner anymore. That's all. If my philosophy is I don't pay corners, I'd rather be taking high-valued positions that I would hypothetically pay or could also get the picks out if I get right, Like in this case, they got the pick right, so they're not bailed out, but they're helped because they get some of the return back in the picks. But, yeah, I'm taking first-round guys I think I'm getting a second contract out of. That's all.
Typically, I agree. I just think they have handled corner a little bit different, and they got their draft value back. And they also developed those guys. You can use it as the plus of, hey, wait to the fourth round to draft a corner. You can develop them. But there is still a limitation to that in terms of overall talent of what you – like Trent McDuffie was a clear first-round talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's a difference. If you think a corner is a first-round talent and he's there at 29 and he's still there and you think he's a guy that has a chance to be a legitimate starter for 4 years, you don't say, well, we don't know if we're going to pay him in 5 years or trade him in 5 years or whatever, so we're not going to draft him. We'll just wait and hope we can get a guy that's somewhat good and we could coach up in the fourth round.
Look, if he's by far – but, you're putting – and I get your point. If that exact situation appears, sure, take the corner. But at the same time, it's like if they value the two positions the same, we think this defensive lineman, this corner are close. Maybe you got the corner ranked 2 spots ahead of him. We're not going to pay a corner anyway. Let's take the defensive lineman. I don't have a problem if all things are created closer to equal. In a situation at 29 where the corner is definitively the best player, I don't have much of an argument for why you wouldn't take definitively the best player.
Well, I don't even it doesn't even have to be like a definitive thing. If the corner is number 1 on the Chiefs board and the lineman is number 2, they're taking the corner.
I'd rather them take the lineman in that case.
but that they have the board for a reason.
Yeah.
But
I think that there should be other things other than which player do we – I think there's more than one. Best player available, I think, is on its own.
I don't want them,
for the record. I don't think people operate.
And for the record, I don't want them taking a corner at 9.
No,
I really don't. I can understand why they. I can understand why they would, but that would not be my preference.
I'll tell you right at 9, that's a totally different than 29 too.
Totally.
At 9, it better be a second contract. I'm sorry,
that.
if they want to be the highest paid corner in football, and you took them at 9, then you make them the highest paid corner in football. That's different than 23 too, or 29, or 29 and the fourth rounder. We didn't even talk about the Truman Sports Complex. We didn't even
you missed
get into
the big announcement of the
Can we talk about it after Kenneth Walker, maybe?
Up next, we're going to be joined by Kenneth Walker. By the way, this was the Chiefs Red Half Hour brought to you by Leavenworth PD. Be a cop. Be yourself. Build your career at Leavenworth PD. Apply today at leavenworthks.gov/police. We're expected to have one of the newest members of the Kansas City Chiefs, Kenneth Walker, or Ken Walker, or K9. We're going to find out what he prefers to be called. When he joins us next, we'll talk some Chiefs football right here on 96.5 The Fan.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Hey, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And Rob, I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC will feature the biggest names who made the World Cup in Kansas City possible, plus the biggest storylines heading into this summer's tournament. This is not a podcast about soccer. Don't get us wrong. This is a podcast about Kansas City. This is a podcast for Kansas City. And this is a podcast that'll tell the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes will be released every Wednesday starting on March 4th, as well as video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ's social channels.
Subscribe and download to Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series with myself, Rob Britton, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's March, and that means there's no better time to start betting with Circa Sports. It doesn't matter how you're planning on betting the mayhem. Picking individual games, futures to make it through the bracket, props on your favorite players, or more. Circa Sports has you covered. Circa Sports isn't just sports betting, it's sports betting the way it should be. High betting limits, player-friendly pricing, and exceptional customer service. Download the Circa Sports app or visit circasports.com today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
At Liberty Mutual, we love helping people with things like customizing car insurance, just like how we customize a song for you. Catered country tune. Liberty Mutual, saving you bucks by protecting your truck. 'Cause Birdie told me to only pay for what I need. Thank you, Limu. I'll always trust in Limu with Liberty, 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 Liberty.
Need to sell your house in Kansas City but not sure what the best option is? Selling a home, especially when dealing with foreclosure, divorce, job relocation, or an inherited property, can feel overwhelming. That's why I don't just make offers. I help homeowners understand all their options so they can make the right choice with no pressure and no obligation. I'm Rex, a local homebuyer and resident right here in Kansas City. Whether you're looking for a fast cash sale or just want to explore your choices, I'll walk you through the pros and cons of selling to me or listing with an agent. If selling directly is your best move, I'll offer you a fair cash price and a closing timeline that fits your needs in as little as 7 days or on your schedule. No repairs, no commissions, no hidden fees. Just a transparent, hassle-free process so you know exactly what to expect. Let's talk. Call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com for a free, no-pressure consultation. Rex Buys KC, helping homeowners make informed decisions with confidence.
Did your HVAC struggle through this rough winter? When it comes to your home comfort, trust the local experts at Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter. Right now, you can save up to $2,000 on a new HVAC system with our trade-in allowance program. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 five-star reviews, plus our exceptional service guarantee, means you get safe, reliable service and peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com/radio for details, terms, and conditions.
Furnished by Intellibrands.
Have you ever felt leg pain, restlessness, cramps, tingling, swelling, numbness, itchiness, or coldness? Then you need the new patented Legsercise Pro, the natural circulation booster that uses continuous automatic leg movement to soothe pain and promote healthy circulation the natural, drug-free way.
Using Legsercise made walking painless again.
Legsercise Pro's patented walking simulator propulsion technology moves your feet back and forth along its concave track, creating constant movement and flex at both the knee and ankle joints. It's like having a physical therapist right in your own home.
I have much less swelling and no more tingling.
Call right now and order your very own Legsercise Pro, the new proven automatic leg mover that soothes pain and naturally promotes healthy circulation. Call 800-555-1212. That's 800-555-1212. 800-555-1212 now.
These statements and products have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or condition.
Join 96.5 at Maloney Sports Bar and Grill in Overland Park for a Royals and Braves watch party. Friday, March 27th, with first pitch just after 6, right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5, The Fan, KFMC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
All right, back here on Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tapp with you as we continue broadcasting live out at Rally House in Independence, getting set for opening day. Royals and Braves later on tonight from Atlanta. Don't forget, we'll be broadcasting till 2 o'clock, so you can stop on by, register to win a pair of tickets to the home opener. Also, we've got a couple $100 Rally House gift cards up for grabs. Register to win one of those 4 right here at Rally House. But we're really excited to head out to the hotline and talk a little Chiefs football with one of the newest members of the Kansas City Chiefs, running back, a Super Bowl champion, a Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker with us here on 96.5 The Fan. Now, we can get it out of the way. People on the text line were saying, were we supposed to call you Ken, Kenneth, K9? What do you want Chiefs fans to start calling you?
You can call me Ken or K9. That's cool.
Okay, I like it. Ken or K9 joining us here on 96.5 The Fan. What was the sales pitch from the Chiefs, though, on why you should leave an organization that you just won a Super Bowl? You were just the Super Bowl MVP. I think you might be just the 4th player to ever win an MVP in a Super Bowl and then the next year not return.
Really, I just let my agents handle like the whole free agency process. I chilled at the just grounded with workouts and playing the game. So on that side, I just let my agents handle that, and that's how we ended up here.
Did you make an edict to them to go to a winning organization? I mean, especially following a Super Bowl championship year, you would think that would become an important thing to you, or were you fielding offers kind of across the league?
Oh, no, definitely you want to win. That was my big thing when I talked to my agents, like winning is is key. You never want to go somewhere and just not want to compete. So winning was a big one for me.
What is the process like, though, when you spent the first part of your career in Seattle, had the success that you just had, again, coming off the best year of your career and accomplishing a Super Bowl title, and then you're going to be a free agent, and it's the first time you're going through that. You got the combine and everything, where everything kind of happens with agents. Just take us behind the scenes. What's that like mentally even? Maybe there was a bit of uncertainty, I guess, about how things would turn out.
Yeah, definitely uncertain. For me, when you get drafted, you feel like you will be at that place forever, and then when free agency hits, you see a lot of moving pieces and, learning just to be patient with everything. You see stuff on the internet and I'm hitting my agent up like, is this true or whatever? You know what I'm saying? So just had to be patient and learn the process and, just trust it.
What's the craziest rumor you've seen about yourself? We have a Royals player on our show. He once told us there was a rumor about him being traded on his wedding day. He had heard about it. If you heard a rumor that you're like, I can't believe even someone bothered to make that up.
I would say, are you saying like just whenever?
Yeah, whenever, trade, anything, just personal life, whatever you think is this is wild.
So I had just got a massage, and then my massage therapist texted me when I left or whatever, and she was like, yeah, I just seen you got traded to the Ravens. This was like during the season. I'm like, damn, for real? But it was just false information. So that stuff can be misleading, or it's just like not right at all. So stuff like that you just can't pay attention to.
So when that exact scenario happened, like, are you like real quickly calling your agent immediately, trying to figure out what the heck's happening? Are you texting your coach? What happens in that scenario?
Yeah. I text my agent at the time. This was like earlier in the season, probably like week 4 or something. I text my agent. I was like, "Is this true, bro?" Like, it was a whole article and everything. So he was like, "Nah, bro. Just like don't focus on that. Just focus on ball and everything. I'll handle that part of everything." So
What is the process like, I guess, on this end? I'm just always kind of curious with athletes. So you're going to move to a new city, a town that you've maybe played in but not lived in. How do you go about deciding, like, where to live, what kind of things to do in the town? Like, how do you make the process of, like, learning the city? Do you rely on other people? Do you try to get here early? Like, how do you kind of determine, like, the new things about where you're going to live?
Yeah, so when I came to sign and everything, it's a lot of people that's real helpful there. You can talk to some players. People on staff, they're real helpful, and you got like a lot of resources of people that know the area. So, just lean on them and see what they say. And, the team, like I said, my teammates can help me out in that aspect as well. So that's real helpful to have people around you.
We're talking to Chiefs running back Ken Walker here on 96.5 The Fan. I'm sure there was text and your phone was blowing up when you signed with the Chiefs and everybody excited about your future. Did you and have you since been in communication with Patrick Mahomes? I don't know, were you as excited as Chiefs fans were to see the video the other day on his Instagram of him throwing the football around?
Yeah, definitely, bro. After it was out and everything, me and Pat talked on the phone and texted and everything. We was talking about how exciting it was to, be able to go out there and ball together. So I think it's cool, bro. And I'm excited. I also hit up Trav and everybody else. So I'm glad to go out there and meet those guys and, get to know everybody, just grind together and ball together.
Did Travis warn you how hot it is in St. Joe in August? Because that may be the part players like the least.
Nah, he didn't tell me. Nobody told me yet, but I'm sure I'll figure it out sometime soon.
Yeah, the dorm rooms is always, I think, to remind you. Obviously, you're not that far removed from college, but that's always, I think, the part that everybody talks about, going back to being in a dorm room for a few weeks.
Yeah. What part? What'd you say? Where is that at?
St. Joseph, Missouri. So it's like 45 minutes north of Kansas City. It is notoriously a bit stuffy up there come August.
Yeah. Okay, I'm learning.
You'll be ready. Now,
I'm trying to warn you. I'm trying to give you a heads up.
We mentioned the dorm rooms, and I don't know if you follow college hoops. So I know you went to Michigan State. The Spartans are in the Sweet 16 tonight. So do you still pull for them even on the basketball side? Have you been watching any of the tournament?
Yeah. Well, I always pull for Michigan State, bro. But I just don't be watching sports much. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm home, I'm on a game or something. But I only watching much sports, so I haven't really seen much of it.
So in fairness, this is where we try to do research. We're going to have Ken Walker on. We're going to learn some stuff. I tried to search on the internet, what are your hobbies? Some of the things they claim you're a hobby of. I need to know if you're actually you're a fan of any of these things. Anime, photography, gaming, deep sea fishing, and bird watching all came up. Are any or all of these true?
Okay. The first three are true. So I love anime, I love gaming, I love photography. I don't love the ocean, and I don't know what the last one, but the last
bird watching. You don't watch
the first three, yes. I don't be watching birds.
I'll be honest. Look, everybody has their own thing. That was the stunner to me as well. I was like, bird watching, that's interesting. I would have believed you, though, if you would have said, no, the deep sea fishing is something I enjoy, because I can't remember who, there was some NFL player recently was posting a video of them out deep sea fishing. So that's not what you do. But what game do you play? You said you like gaming a little bit.
Yeah, I play a lot of different games, bro. I used to love COD and 2K and stuff, but now I switched to I love Elden Ring, Ghost of Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei. It's all type of games like that. Single player games that got a story to it.
What kind of photography do you do? Like nature photography, sports photography? What version do you do?
Yeah, landscaping. So just I guess more of just landscaping and stuff like that. I think my favorite pictures I've taken, it was probably a couple years ago in Utah, and those pictures was nice because Utah, it made it easy how pretty it is out there. So,
and I guess for the fans who want to watch the same stuff as you, what are your 3 favorite anime shows? I know it's a lot of pressure for fans.
Dragon Ball Z, because I started off with that as a kid. So I say Dragon Ball Z, Solo Leveling, and these 2 I'll just put Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan. So those 2 together.
It's like one of the genres I didn't like. Do you guys get into the trading stuff or the collecting stuff too? Ken, do you collect the figures or build any of the stuff?
Do I collect what? What'd you say? Sorry.
Like the figures related to the anime, or I know there's some of the build stuff. Do you go to the cons or anything like that?
Oh no. Well, I really don't know where the events are, so I don't really know where to go for that. But no, I don't collect either. But I'm seeing that's actually a big thing, collecting cards and everything as well.
Yeah, that has become more and more popular. Now, what's the rest of the offseason look like before you get to Kansas City and get into mini camps and eventually to St. Joe for training camp? What do you got planned? It's been a long season for you, a good one, but do you have a chance to take a break now?
Yeah, so I took a trip to Hawaii. I went to Oahu, and I was going to go to Japan, but I kind of canceled that trip because I got to move all my stuff and continue to train. So I probably postpone that to the next off season sometime. But yeah, I was able to go out to Hawaii, so that was cool.
Is the Japan stuff you want to see something does that go back to the anime culture and interest?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I love that culture. So anime, and I love samurais too. So that's something I wanted to go out there and see and learn about.
Before we let you go, as we've got Ken Walker, Chiefs running back, joining us here on 96.5 The Fan. You mentioned moving and trying to get everything together. What's the item or so? I don't know. Maybe you collect some of your stuff going back to your playing days in college. Certainly now you just come off a Super Bowl there with Seattle. Is there one item or something? Maybe it's sports, maybe it's not. That you got to make sure, I guess, that is coming with you to Kansas City.
I would say my ring. I want the ring.
For sure.
Are you going to have a trophy set up in the new place? You got to have the Super Bowl MVP and the ring. You need to have a display area.
Yeah, so I got where I live now. I have the trophy display, so I'll probably keep all that together here. And then when I get the ring, I'll probably have it out there until I come back.
Ken Walker, K9. We learned K9 or Ken are the 2 preferences there. Appreciate your time, man. Best of luck. Safe travels to Kansas City. And, we'll ask you about St. Joe when we see you in St. Joe here in a couple months.
All right. Sounds good, brother. I appreciate y'all for having me.
Absolutely. There you go. Ken Walker with us here on 96.5 The Fan. Chiefs running back. I know everybody excited to see what he brings to the table and some explosiveness to that backfield. And, my guess is maybe we'll have a chance to talk to him up in St. Joe. And it's funny when he asked, he's like, now tell me more about St. Joe.
He's like, hold on, wait, you said that was hot as hell? Yes, it's hot.
Yeah,
I can't believe no one warned him yet.
He'll get used to that.
Players hate it.
He'll get used to that pretty quick, man. He'll get used to that pretty quick.
Living in a dorm and sweltering hot St. Joe heat. Last year actually wasn't so bad. So maybe he'll get lucky. Or because last year wasn't so bad, this year will be awful. Because last year was the one that, right, the heat wasn't like awful. 2 years ago.
Yeah, last year wasn't bad. Yeah, and I think he was talking about anime and stuff. Isn't Planet Comic-Con like going on right now in Kansas
It is right
City?
now.
I think so, yeah.
It's this weekend.
My
should walk around downtown, Cody.
My daughter likes a lot of that stuff, and had it not been the same weekend as her dance weekend, I'd have maybe taken her down there. I've never taken her down there, but a lot of like she likes like some anime, but some other like digital stuff that exists in that space, and so she's just a big fan. So we'll see. But it is this weekend. Walk around downtown, you probably see a lot of costumes. If you had to go to an anime costume, what are you dressing up as, Gold?
Oh, God.
It could be an old cartoon character.
Man.
They made you dress up. Alex has got to go down there. You got to put on everything. You got to dress up. What former, like a Ninja Turtle? Like, what's the thing from your youth, you know? What are you going with?
That's a great question. That could have been your random question.
It could have been. You know what, actually?
Save it.
Sit on it.
Save
that
it.
will be the random question coming up.
Yeah,
Don't answer yet.
Save it.
That will be your question in 30 minutes.
People are saying on the text line, they lie. There's a lot of people that are fan of anime on the text line. They're excited about that.
A lot of people excited about the Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, there's a lot of people excited about that. But it'll be good to get to know him some more when he gets into Kansas City. Like they have to be more explosive in the backfield, and we went through the numbers the day he signed. I know we were fired up for it at that moment, and it's pretty rare. I mean, since we've been doing the show, I mean, look, we've talked to Patrick Mahomes before, but is that, unless we're talking about a former player, is that only the second Super Bowl MVP we've had on the show? That's a big deal, Super Bowl MVP, and he happens to be leaving Seattle, of course,
I would
coming
think
to Kansas
so.
City. I don't think we've had a Super Bowl MVP on the show before.
Not even Mahomes? Has he ever been on the show?
Not
live on this show.
Not live.
Like,
no.
I've interviewed him a couple of times, and we've talked to him, like, post, obviously, winning a Super Bowl before, but I don't think he's ever actually just been a guest on the show. Now I'm just looking. There's just no way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't think we've ever had Von Miller on the show or Joe Flacco. I can't see any of these people I've seen, like, on the list.
We didn't have Tom Brady on the show. I know that. So
we didn't have Tom Brady at any particular point. Wait, did Terry Bradshaw win it?
I probably did. He probably did. He probably did. Yeah. Okay.
Terry Bradshaw.
So someone said, what about on Radio Row? What Radio Row was changed too. Like we had Jerome Bettis on the show, but he didn't win Super Bowl MVP, did he? So
we've had Terry Bradshaw. He is a Super Bowl MVP.
All right, so Bradshaw, Kenneth Walker.
Now
Ken
I'm going
Walker.
through the list.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever had Steve Young or Emmitt Smith. They're on Radio Row, but I don't think they've ever been on this show. Kurt Warner. There's another Super Bowl MVP. You're underselling us.
Okay. I was thinking we already only had two. So three.
Yeah, three.
Okay.
I don't see anybody else.
Talking to Alex because the sissy guy hadn't said a word yet.
That's right. That's exactly right.
What a line.
Unbelievable, honestly.
He just seemed like he was in a mood to pick on me from the second that interview started.
There you go.
I don't feel like I did anything.
So thanks again to Ken Walker for calling in. All right, let's get back into some Royals baseball, though, a little bit. Normally, we would be doing What's Trending Right Now, which is brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, trusted in Kansas City since 1994. One contractor, all things parking lot. We get back to the Royals here. It is opening day, taking on the Braves later on. The lineup is officially out, and always more interest on this one. If you guys heard Jake Eisenberg earlier today with us, then you're not surprised when you see this lineup. Because I've gotten texts from 3 or 4 friends in the last, like, while we were talking to
Jack Kagleon not in it?
Yes, while we were talking to Walker, I had multiple texts.
Seemed like Jake maybe already knew.
People freaking out about it. It's because they're facing a lefty in Chris Sale. Now, admittedly, on opening day, Cody, I do like to see the lineup that you're planning on throwing out there for 99% of the season.
Lane Thomas is hitting third.
I'm with fans on this, though. Where on opening day, I kind of want to see the opening day lineup. Like, there's something about that. But they're going with the matchups. That's who your manager is.
Yes.
That's the organization. And in a lefty perspective, this lineup makes sense. But I think as the season goes on, Cody, you want Jack Kagleon eventually in the lineup with lefties, right? If he's performing well?
Yes. So I said that to Jake Eisenberg. Maybe we can play back part of that interview coming up at 1:15 or so. But, like, yes, at some point he needs to be Vinny Pasquantino, as in, even if he's further down the lineup than normal, which he is today, Vinny's hitting 5th, not 3rd, then you want him in there. Can I just give you the career numbers of lefties against Chris Sale? Would that help you?
Go for it.
Make this decision? In his career, 337 games and almost 2,000 at-bats against him. Lefties against Chris Sale hit 200 with a 254 on-base percentage, a 281 slug, and a 536 OPS. They're awful. And I mean awful against him. Now, look, I'm not saying righties are good. He's a future Hall of Famer. They hit 224 with a 281 on base and a 650 OPS. That is a significant swing. Lefties, he dominates lefties. That's why they're doing this.
I know, but I get why fans are bummed.
I do.
I get why fans are bummed. You want to see 2026 Jack Kagleon on day number 1, and we're not going to get that. At least, I guess he could pinch hit later on.
But it's
the
the all-righty lineup.
I understand.
It's not the all-righty lineup because obviously they've got Jensen DHing and they've got, so they got some stuff moved around, but it's a righty-heavy lineup.
Like, it's going to be okay. Nobody needs to, freak out too much. But also, I get why it's a bummer if you're a Royals fan.
You know what's weird? I totally agree with you on that.
But this is who your manager is. This is why later in the year, as there will be, maybe it'll happen tonight, I don't know, but there will be instances even with the bullpen use and how they decide to utilize the bullpen, and people will get frustrated, and it doesn't mean it always going to play out correct, but this regime hired this manager to play the numbers more often than not. And that doesn't mean it's never any fill.
1 or 81.
Exactly.
Because, I think that the one thing I like about the consistency of you and I talked about this when we were talking about Andy Reid last year, where it's not that I don't have a problem if he's less conservative on fourth down. I said Andy Reid didn't seem to have a structure to the way he went for it. He just do it and he admitted it. He's like, oh, it's a gut vibe. Just when I feel like it, I just go for it. And if I don't feel like it, I don't. That's not a plan. I'll tell you this much. Q, whether you agree with it every single day or not, has a plan. But the question I would ask, and I think a more than fair question right now is your plan not to play Jack Kagleon against all lefties?
Or just
this
one?
one?
Yeah.
The one thing I want to know is it you aren't planning on starting him against left-handed starting pitching, or you are planning on not having him against Chris Sale? Because that, to me, is a different argument. I want Jack Kagleon in the lineup 90% of the time. He will sit against Chris Sale, that's fine. But, the other argument is, what do you do then?
On Monday when we're outside Gate D at Kauffman, we'll have J.J. Piccolo back on the show. I'm sure it's something that we'll ask him about.
Especially ask him today about it.
It could happen. But, yeah, we're going to have the GM on the show Monday. But, yeah, sure, fair enough. And so we'll see. I think long-term, if you're expecting Jack Kagleon to turn into the player that we are all still hoping he can turn into, then he will be in there against lefties if everything works out. But maybe it's game 1, and it is, in particular, it's Chris Sale. But fans are bummed out. Now, I disagree with this text. Someone says, that sucks. Fans bought tickets to see that. They're on the road today. Atlanta Braves fans did not buy tickets to see Jack Kagleon in the live. So, look, I get as a fan, as a Royals fan, you're bummed not to see him tonight. Totally get it. But don't come with me with the excuse that fans in Atlanta bought tickets. Come on, they're not. Opening day is on the road, okay? So that should not be the excuse and why you're upset. Be upset because you just want to see Cags in the lineup. Saying you bought tickets or fans bought tickets. No, they didn't. Royals fans did not fly down to Atlanta to go see Jack Kagleon today.
It's also not like the way Major League Baseball, it's not the way the NBA does it, where the best players are sitting just to get rest. They're trying to win a baseball game tonight. And lefties historically hit 200 against Chris Sale with a sub-500 OBS. So, it's lefties hit terrible against Chris Sale and have historically hit terrible against Chris Sale. Mm-hmm. They're trying to win a baseball game tonight. Otherwise, I'll just tell you right now, most days, Lane Thomas isn't hitting third. They got Vinny hitting fifth. That's weird. That's a weird lineup for the Royals, just on its own aggregate. The fact that they were willing to move Vinny down to fifth against Chris Sale also suggests the idea that they just it's a big time lefty problem, not the other.
Yeah, am I crazy? For NFL opening night or whatever, fans might travel. Someone says that text is saying that Royals fans bought tickets to opening day in Atlanta to see Kagleon, not the Atlanta fans. How many Royals fans do you think are going to be in Atlanta tonight, guys? I think we're blowing this way out of proportion.
10? That's more than that. But let's even just give them a credit. 500.
Look,
I don't think it's
I'm not saying there will not be a single Royals fan there, but on a Friday night in March for opening for baseball is not the same as Chiefs fans going to L.A. to go watch the Chiefs play the Chargers on the first Friday of the season or something like that. I disagree. And you can be mad about them not being in the lineup, but this idea that there's 5,000 Royals fans that bought tickets in Atlanta tonight is just not accurate.
I agree. Again, this goes back to I don't have a problem with this as long as this is it's Chris Sale. So he's not going to play against Chris Sale. If this is we're going to hold him out against lefties, I have a problem. I also said to Jake Eisenberg, and we talked about it earlier in the show, there is no player in better need of a fast start, in my opinion, than Jack Kagleon. So, that part of it. And someone's over on YouTube, right? They said it's BS to not let him prove that he can handle himself against lefties coming off the World Baseball Classic and what you were using him for last year. Let him prove the point. Maybe they think that Chris Sale is the exception lefty, right? That's the thing I can't know. Is he the one lefty they wouldn't start him against, or is it all lefties? Because then otherwise you can line up your position.
Yeah. It's something to watch, because if he's going to be the type of player that we all hope he is, eventually he needs to be in there against lefties. So
yes.
That is we'll see. Q will get asked about it today. Also, there's a very good chance Jack's still getting in the game at some point.
Oh, if there is a right-handed reliever later in the game,
he's going to pinch hit.
And one of these guys, I wouldn't be surprised.
We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. It's definitely something to watch. And Chris Sale being on the bump is most likely the reason. I'll give Jake Eisenberg credit. He called this one this morning. So
yeah, he did.
He had a good idea that
maybe he got a little sneak peek of the lineup, or maybe they gave him a little tip of the cap that would be the case. But again, the numbers historically point to why this is the decision. But it's not like Vinny's also left-handed, right? And it's not like.
But that's what I'm saying. If you get to the level where you're playing at the level you're expected to play at, then the righty-lefty stuff will not matter as much. You hope to get to a point where it's not a platoon-type situation for Jack.
The other argument is Carter Jensen hits left-handed. Why is he the DH? Why isn't it Jack Hag? Not him, but why isn't it Salvador Perez or somebody else DHing? Why isn't it Starling Marte DHing? Who was in the lineup? Why isn't it a righty DHing instead of Carter Jensen? Right. Knowing that he's also left-handed, I get the argument. I really do. But I also think they're trying to get Jack Kagleon started off well, and I think he's still going to play most days. My bigger fear would be the one that I mentioned, which is he's got to make sure that everything's kind of squared away. But it is kind of, I know fans are going to be disappointed. It's weird to see a lineup.
I would like to see Starling Marte.
Yeah,
well.
It's weird to see a starting lineup in which Starling Marte and Lane Thomas are in it, and Lane Thomas is hitting third, even though you're high on Lane Thomas. That's not even the argument you're making.
Yeah, I think he could end up having a very nice year for the Royals. It's just, I think hopefully what it is not that we can move on because we've hit on this enough, but hopefully what it is that it sucks that on opening day they happen to be facing Chris Sale. So this is it just had they're the team that's playing Chris Sale on opening day, and so they're going with the lineup whether it was today or whether it was 3 weeks from now. This is what they would have done. But bigger picture, I hope this is not what has to happen every single time, because that means Jack Kagleon has not developed more as a hitter.
Yes.
That's it. We'll get back into this a little bit later on in the show. It is opening night for the Royals in Atlanta, the game right here on 96.5 The Fan. We do hope to see you guys out of Maloney's. We had somebody stop by last break or 2 breaks ago here at Rally House in Independence, where we're broadcasting from, saying, hey, we'll see you guys later on tonight. So the double dip, how about that? You come out to Rally House as well, and we'll see you tonight. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you guys supporting the show, supporting the station as well. But there's still time to join us in Independence. Maybe you're getting a chance to get for your lunch break, to go out to the office a little bit. Rally House off of 39th Street here in Independence. You can still come in and register to win a pair of opening day tickets or home opener tickets on Monday. Plus, we still have gift cards up for grabs. 4 of them of $100 value to Rally House. Register to win opportunity if you stop on by to Rally House here in Independence. All right, up next, though, let's talk more Royals baseball in terms of the win total, predictions there, divisional predictions, and the random question of the day, which we already got a tease about with the Planet Comic-Con being in Kansas City. That's next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Well, there's still time to head into Shawnee Mission Ford Truck Month. The month is winding down, but you have until the end of this month to take advantage of what they are now making the best truck month ever. I absolutely loved when I was driving that Ford F-150. They got other trucks. They got the Maverick as well, or maybe you need something a little bit bigger, the F-250 XL. It all is part of the best truck month ever. They have 25 F-150s, 0% for 60 months, 90 days till your first payment, plus large discounts, and, of course, the no-charge lifetime warranty. And even if you're thinking you're not sure if you want a truck, they got all kinds of vehicles there. Right now I'm driving the Ford Bronco thanks to Shawnee Mission Ford. And as I was telling you guys earlier in the week, whether it is 85 or 90 and sunny and you want to take the top off, or whether or not you're in the middle of a snowstorm, this vehicle is phenomenal for both. I have experienced both ends of that, and I would say that the Ford Bronco was the best vehicle I have driven in the snow ever. So if you're looking for a new vehicle, great time to test drive one during Truck Month over at Shawnee Mission Ford, which is going on now till the end of the month. Shawnee Mission Ford is on a mission to do more in 26.
Hey guys, it's Rob Brennan from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the upcoming World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch, KC features the biggest names who helped make the World Cup in Kansas City possible. And there was a lot of work, plus the major storylines heading into this summer's tournament.
This is so much more. This isn't just a podcast about soccer.
No, you're right, Rob. It's a podcast about Kansas City, for Kansas City, telling the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes drop every Wednesday starting on March 4th, along with video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ social channels.
So make sure you subscribe. Download Beyond the Pitch KC with Rob Brennan and myself, Scott Parks, on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $300 back in bonus bets every day for 10 days. Here's how it works. Place a tournament bet using the token. If it doesn't win, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets every single day for 10 straight days. That doesn't matter if it's the money line, the point spread. Maybe you want to play a futures on who you think is going to make the playoffs in the fall. You can do all of that with our friends over at FanDuel. You can even mix things up with the same game parlay for a shot at an even bigger payout. All you need to do, visit FanDuel.com/local to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/local. Remember, place a tournament bet using the token. If it doesn't win, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets every single day. So it doesn't matter if it's for the brackets or baseball season. You want to be with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app, and also the official sportsbook of 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Missouri. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days on the street. Tokens are received in increments of 1 per day. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, professional landscapers, a quick heads up. Right now is the best time of the year to upgrade your lawn equipment because the Gravely Mow the Distance sales event is happening March 19th through the 29th. You can get up to 20% off Gravely commercial mowers. The machines pros count on for consistent results and season-long reliability. If you're adding to your fleet or upgrading this spring, now's the time. Stop by your local Gravely dealer today.
Feeling the heat? Don't sweat it. Turn to Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling. With temperatures rising, now's the time to make sure your AC is ready to keep you cool. Whether it's your home or your business, Comfort Systems services both residential and commercial systems across the Kansas City area. Call today for a fast tune-up, repair, or a system upgrade so you can stay cool all summer long. Family owned and operated since 1990, comforting people is what we do. Comfort Systems is right for you. MyComfortSystems.com.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Come on. No! It's just a golf lesson, champ. Loosen up.
I can't. See that Hyundai Santa Fe?
Yeah.
I only paid.
Finish up on your own. I gotta run.
Deal's so right, it almost feels wrong. The Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days on the Hyundai Tucson, Tucson Hybrid, Santa Fe, or Santa Fe Hybrid. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hurry. Offer ends March 31st. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Carpal tunnel syndrome. Heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Honey, that flu keeping you up? Did you take NyQuil Intense Flu?
Nah, I got this.
Okay, I don't got this.
Yeah, you need NyQuil Intense Flu.
Undo your flu with NyQuil Intense Flu. NyQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms so you can sleep.
You do got this.
NyQuil Intense Flu. The nighttime sniffling, aching fever. Best sleep with the flu. Medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Brought to you by Kalshi. Trade on anything.
March matchups are here. Trade the tournament in all 50 states on Kalshi. St. John's is trading at 29% to beat Duke. A $100 trade pays out $328 if they win. Download the Kalshi app and use code FAN to get $10 off when you trade. KALSHI. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this. Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event. Presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, we're back here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Tapp with you live out at Rally House in Independence off of 39th Street, getting set for opening day, opening night, Royals, Braves later on today. And, of course, if you stop by Rally House in Independence till 2, we'll be here. Come by, say hello, and register to win a pair of tickets to the home opener on Monday. Plus, it'll put you in the drawing as well to win one of the $100 gift cards to Rally House. Plenty of good stuff. You gotta get. I feel like every Royals season at the beginning, and look, I hope in October.
You gotta get one new piece of
I
gear.
hope in October as well. You need a playoff gear, but before the season starts, you gotta have something new. Like I told you, I'm buying a polo before we leave today. I got to get some new Royals item once a year. This lady's nice enough to come by. She's got a cool Fear the Pasquatch shirt. It looks like she's picking up as well. Pasquatch is very popular, of course. So,
logically.
Plenty of that stuff. I saw there was they've got actually a rack of some jerseys just in front of us, and they got some Pasquatch jerseys up there as well. So I'm waiting for them. I'm waiting for the Leak City Connects to actually be on. I want to see it in person.
You want to see it in real life? I didn't mind it.
You and I haven't had a chance to talk about them.
In the photo.
But the leaked photo, which it sounds like is the actual jersey.
I think so.
I want to see the batting helmet and the pants. Maybe the full uniform looks good. The jersey, just as like random fan wearing shorts to a game in July, I don't really dig the jersey, but to each their own. It might look really cool with the batting helmet, though, and with the pants. The current City Connect, which is like right behind us or whatever the logo, that one grew on me very quickly, though, and I ended up liking the jersey. The hat I still never liked, but the jersey was top-notch. It's just they're forced to change to new City Connects every couple of years, part of the Fanatics or Nike deal.
Yeah, I think that, again, I don't mind them. I think partially because – I don't mind kind of a brighter color scheme for a piece of gear or two. I think what always gets people on City Connects or alt jerseys is when none of it is the color you're used to seeing your team in. Like, at least with the old City Connects, it's blue. It's a different colored blue, but it's blue and it's white. This one, because it's got purple and pink, although I would admit, I'm assuming the purple is because royalty and purple are commonly associated
I think
with
someone was saying the connection, if you go way back, I think it was in the 70s, maybe the KC Mo
City logo
flag or logo was something like that. Or the other theory that was, if you look at what Sporting KC did this year as well, with their jerseys, kind of this like jazz and retro-y vibe to it, and maybe it's all kind of connected. So
it's an alt jersey. No one's forcing you to buy that gear.
Of course not. I just want to see the full uniform before I fully say it sucks. Early opinion, not a big fan, but it's one of those when all of a sudden you have the full uni together, it might look pretty good.
Now I'm looking for something City Connect so I can.
The current City Connects?
Yeah.
I mean, there's only, 500 different items right behind you that you can look at that are Royals alone.
Couple, yeah. Well, that one was like directly above me, so it was outside there. Again, that one kind of.
What do you think?
Like you said, that one grew on me kind of quick.
Yeah, there must be, I don't know, Cody, am I underselling 100 different hats behind us?
It's way more than that.
200 different hats?
Yeah, it's a lot. Again, if we're at Rally House in Independence for at least the next 90 minutes, you can get yourself geared up before the home opener on Monday or before tonight. If you're going to meet us out at Maloney's, 4 $100 gift cards on the line, opening day tickets on the line for Monday. So come out and see us here for the next 90 minutes. Let's talk about some of these stat predictions and the Royals win predictions. We'll remind everybody that I had 89 wins. Gold had 89 wins. We wrote them down before, so we did not copy each other's answers.
And
Drew had it at 90. I mean, come on. I think if you were a reasonably optimistic Royals fan, that your range is landing between 87 and 92. I don't think there's so many different answers you can give if you're a reasonably optimistic one. I want to talk about Carter Jensen because, and then we'll talk about why we think they're going to get to that win total. I want to talk about Carter Jensen because I looked up his FanGraph numbers because I wanted to know whether or not and what he was going to project at, because I do think it's important. Like, Carter Jensen's proven he can hit righties and lefties. That's why he's in the lineup instead of Kags. And Kags hasn't proven he can hit at a major league level just yet, and I think people want to see him in to prove that he can,
right?
Like we think he can. This is Carter Jensen's FanGraph prediction. I want to know if you'd lock this in, Gold. 245 batting average, 12 home runs, 47 RBI, 46 runs, and a 322 on-base percentage. A 2-WAR player. Starting 80 games at catcher. Is that a number you would take for Carter Jensen, or are you expecting something more than that?
Well, if we're being, again, there's always the lofty goal. If you think he's Rookie of the Year material, then I wouldn't lock that in. That's not going to get it done. I want to remind you, last year, in an insane rookie year, Nick Kurtz had 36 homers, hit 290, 86. That is insane.
That's an off-the-wall rookie year. But
so it doesn't have to be that level. But the number you just told me, it depends on what you're expecting out of him. If you think he's a Rookie of the Year candidate, then you can't lock in the number that you just gave me. That, to me, though, would not be a bad first full year for Carter Jensen, what you just listed off at all.
This is what's going to be really tough because we're so used to it with Salvador Perez.
I know.
Can I tell you right now, from a catching perspective, those are excellent numbers. Gold. Those are really good hitting numbers for a catcher. A 245 batting average and a 322 on base. Maybe not the home runs. Maybe you'd like a few more of those. But, I mean, they're clearly thinking of him as an everyday player. He's in at DH against a tough lefty today against Chris Sale. In a day in which they chose to sit Jack Kagleon, they got Carter Jensen in there. He is projected to win Rookie of the Year, according to some outlets. He has got top 5 odds, top 3 odds, I think, is what we looked up. Right, at least that end for Carter Jensen. I just didn't know what numbers you would accept for him, you know? Like when you're looking at what numbers we expect out of a player like that. And I think if you're looking at Carter Jensen, knowing that we've only got a, 30-game sample size or so, for him, Gold, you're right. If I'm predicting to win Rookie of the Year, I can't take it. But I think other than that, I probably can. This all goes back to what our projections are. I think they're going to win 89 games, and I think they're going to win the division because I think they're the most balanced team in the AL Central. I don't think they have a true weakness other than maybe outfield. And I think with Lane Thomas, Jack Kagleon in a better year too, Starling Marte, I think they are significantly improved there. Other than that, I think their floor is really low in pretty much every other area. Offensively, bullpen, starting pitching. I think there's only so many ways it could go really south.
So you mean the floor is really high?
The floor is high.
The floor is high. Yeah. Okay. No, yeah. So we both had 89 wins, although I don't think that wins the division. It certainly could. I have them 89 wins as a wild card team. And we all know this year it is playoffs or bust. And it might even be division or bust for some of you out there. I certainly think there's no excuse for them not to be competing deep into September to win the American League Central. But I give the slight edge still to Detroit heading in because as much as we can talk about the Royals starting pitching, having Skubal and Valdez, if Valdez can stay healthy, that is as good of a 1-2 punch as you'll find in the American League. And that's a big deal. The wild card for them, as much as we're talking here about Kagleon and can he figure it out, they're saying, and it's one game, but their top prospect, Kevin McGonigal, just had 4 hits yesterday. Now it's one freaking game.
So cool it a little.
But is he end up being a Rookie of the Year candidate
Good start for one game.
and have an unbelievable season. So 89 wins, I think, gets him a wild card spot for sure and has him in the position to win the AL Central. But I will predict still that they don't actually win it. There are still questions and big ones. Like we can go full-blown optimism and say Kags figures it out and Lane Thomas does this. Both could happen.
That gets him to like 95 or 100 wins if everything goes great.
Yeah, if that happens, then if Lane Thomas hits 25 homers and Kags hits 25 homers, they're winning the division. But as you know, the baseball season never goes as planned. So while somebody like Jack could figure it out, but then is there somebody else that ends up regressing in a significant way. Because Noah Cameron right now in spring training has shown no signs of that. But if he regresses, you feel like there's good depth there, but all of a sudden you have a ton of depth until you don't at a position like pitcher. Feels like you have a ton of depth, and they got these guys in the minors, all good until all of a sudden you don't.
I guess you got to opening day though without like a major issue.
For sure,
there is something.
I just don't want to and look. We both have the same numbers, so I guess it's weird. I have 89, and yet we're both I'm sounding.
I'm just thinking the division's worse, and you're thinking
I'm sounding more negative, but we both have the same win total. I'm just saying that acting like all this stuff is just going to go perfect. That's just that's just never how the season goes. And I'm not even talking about the Royals. I'm talking for every team in baseball other than maybe the Dodgers. All the optimism, that's what's great about today. I'm optimistic as well. I'm telling you they're a playoff team. But to sit here and tell you, yep, Jack's going to figure it out, and Lane Thomas, and Michael Garcia will be the same player, and Salvi still will not be old, and Seth Lugo will just be what he was prior to the deadline, and that Cole Reagans will be fully healthy, and that all that's not happening. You and I know that.
Sure. It's not, but what I like about it is I don't need all those things to go well just as long as all the things that were negative last year go one or two in the other direction.
Sure.
Because then it is a wash, and this team is better overall, so I do think that they'll just get – because, the thing is, and it seems like I'm just, banging the drum maybe a little bit too much on this point, but the reason for optimism for me is very simple. The Royals had the worst outfield in their franchise's history last year. I do not think that will repeat itself. I don't think they'll have the worst offense in baseball out of their outfield. Hell, Lane Thomas himself starting in center field. Do we realize how much better of a player historically Lane Thomas has been in the outfield than Kyle Isbell? Let's take the other two positions out of it. We spent a lot of time talking left and right. You know why they were the worst offense in the outfield? Well, Kyle Isbell had a career year for him, but there's still limitations to his game. He's a good defensive player. A career year for Kyle Isbell was still, I imagine, a 310. I don't know what it was.
And again, Lane Thomas is playing starting in center field today.
Yeah, Lane Thomas is starting and hitting third, which does seem crazy, and I understand that. But it's just Kyle Isbell at 255 with a 301 on base percentage and 4 home runs last year and 33 RBI. That's Lane Thomas's worst year, probably, of his career. And so there are plenty of odds that would suggest there is upper in momentum there. And yeah, maybe they do lose some starting pitching, but they lost their ace-level starter for 2/3 of the season last year. So even if they only get 25 starts out of that, or they lose more out of Bubic, who they also were missing for 1/3 of the season last year, well, then even if Lugo misses time, or Lugo's worse, or Waka's worse, the upper end of if some of that goes better slightly in the regression to the mean, it washes itself out. That's why their floor to me, their absolute floor, I think if things went bad, is 81 wins. As in too many things.
So last year, basically?
Yes. I think that's their absolute floor. If they are that, I would say, wow, what a massively disappointing season to finish with 81 wins.
Yeah, I think 80 wins, so right around. Yeah, I think 80
wins. That'd be a real bummer of a year. And you and I both said, anything short of the playoffs, we're calling a failure this year, right?
Yes, and I don't want to hear any. I don't want to hear excuse. I don't want to hear in June that this team, they're just having some bad luck. No. Now, does that mean that every single managerial decision that we should act like is going to be the end of the world? Like people today already are acting all pissed off about the opening day lineup. I'm not going to overreact to 1 of 162. Do I have questions about it? I'm with all of you. I have the same question. Why is Jack not in the lineup? I think I know the explanation, which is they're facing an elite left-handed pitcher, and when there's an elite left-handed pitcher, we may not see Jack. When it's just an average left-handed pitcher, we might. And as his career progresses, I want him out there every single day, and that might be the case later on. But we also don't need to act like today this, it's the biggest atrocity known to man. The freak out over the lineup on day one is baseball's back, baby.
Yeah, it does feel right.
It's good to be back, I guess, because it's crazy.
I gave you Carter Jensen's Fangraphs numbers. Do you want to know Jack Kagleon's?
Sure.
They have him starting 100.
We already did this, I think.
Did we?
I think you've told me. Go ahead.
Okay, it's fine. They had him starting 110 games and hitting 20 homers with a 235 batting average and a 310 on base. So, and a 1.6 WAR player versus Carter Jensen's 1.8.
Mm-hmm.
So, comparable, I guess is how I'd put it. The one thing I do want to point out, because somebody said why, and it's a fair question, why Carter
Jensen, if not Kags?
Yeah, if you're going against tough left-handed pitching. Because in his career, in fairness, he's been worse against left-handed pitching.
167 batting average. His slug versus lefties over 69. It's 69 plate appearances.
Yeah, and his OPS is 452 versus 1,000 versus righties. Although, and this is the problem with small sample sizes. Against starters, when he starts against lefties, he's better than when he starts against righties. So, I think I'll boil this down because splits don't mean anything for a player who's only played in 30 games. His career splits in the minors are better against lefties than Jack Kagleon. But more importantly, they trust Carter Jensen because he's proven he can get hit against major league players in major league games. That's it. You don't have to overthink this. That's why. Carter Jensen has proven he can hit major league pitching. Jack Kagleon, to this point, from the majors' perspective, has not. And so, even though they're both small sample sizes, and they are, that's why. Like, it's crazy. I get it, but
again, as a fan,
I want them to win. I don't care.
Well, as a fan, I want Jack Kagleon in the lineup. That's basically why the reaction has been the reaction today.
But I'd rather
fans
win
want
than
to see
Kagleon in the lineup.
I'm with you, but I get why the reaction has been as strong as it has been in the last hour since the lineup, since the lineup has been out, which is people want to see the big names.
Not a 40-year-old Starling Marte?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. Someone in the text said, Michael Garcia sat opening day last year, ended up having a career year. So.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. Well, he wasn't the everyday, the
2025 opening day lineup, you're going to be like, oh, my gosh.
You're going to be sick. Oh, I don't even want to see it. Oh.
Last year's opening day lineup. That's the roster, I guess. Here was the opening day. This was last year's opening day starters. Let me go back. I believe that's right. Opening day starters last year. So Salvador Perez, Cavan Biggio, Michael Massey, Jonathan India, Bobby Witt, MJ Melendez, Kyle Isbell, Hunter Renfroe, and then Vinny was DHing. That was last year's opening day lineup compared to this year. And I know people are upset that Kag's not in the lineup, but it's Garcia, Witt, Lane Thomas, Salvi, Pasquantino, Starling Marte, Jonathan India, Isaac Collins, Carter Jensen.
Massey, Renfroe, MJ, and Cavan Biggio were in the starting lineup last year?
Yeah.
And Isbell?
Yes.
Ooh. Well, you know what? It's a real mystery why this offense got off to a slow start last season. Who could have seen that coming based on that? And India, too. Like, think about the number of guys in the starting lineup for the Royals last year who ended up getting off to a worse start. For what it's worth, Royals lost that game, so maybe they should have gone with a different starting lineup and only managed 4 runs in that game against the Cleveland Guardians. But Jonathan India, bad offensive year. Massey, Renfroe, MJ all had bad offensive years. Cavan Biggio had a who cares year. Kyle Isbell had a good year for him, but not by major league standards. And so it's quite a bit different.
All right, let's get to it.
Random question.
For you, Gold, you, Drew, text line 913-586-7965. And, of course, for YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and Facebook, live stream the show every single day, even today, over on the chats there on YouTube and Twitch, interacting with you over there. Plus, 913-586-7965 will take your text now. I'd asked Gold earlier, we were joking about it, the Comic-Con's in town this weekend. And I said, hey, you're going to choose one from childhood, Gold. You're going to dress up. It doesn't have to be from childhood. It could be something current, but I don't think you watch anything that would land in the current. What outfit, if I made you go dress up for Comic-Con, would you go as?
This is
You're going
easy.
as Iron Man?
No. This is easy.
Easy, okay.
Because
text line helped me with an idea for mine.
I always thought it was the coolest thing as a kid, and I still think if you were walking around and you were at this event in a Stormtrooper costume, I thought you
were going to say like Inspector Gadget or something,
No.
Pull an umbrella out of your hat.
No. Stormtrooper.
Just a Stormtrooper.
Just walking around in that would be awesome.
You just think that's a classic?
Yeah.
I think you're trying to hide yourself a little bit. I think
that's a cool thing. Yeah, but that's a cool thing. Just walk around.
Okay. Stormtrooper is his answer. Drew, do you have yours before I give my answer? The Twitch helped me earlier with mine.
Again, this also started because Ken Walker, Chiefs running back, was on the show.
He's big into anime.
Earlier this hour. And, yeah, he's big into anime. And we were talking about Comic-Con and stuff.
You go ahead and give your answer. I'm going to think about it a little bit more.
I think my answer is I think I would want to do something that makes me think of being a kid. Because, like, in that way, it's like that was when I would have watched more content that lands inside this wheelhouse. I think I would want to go as Doug from Nickelodeon, but not Doug. I'd want to go as Quail Man. I want to put on. Okay. I want to put the belt on my head. You know, hit it with some starch so it's on the top. Do you remember the cartoon Doug?
Yeah. Does Doug even count for Comic-Con though?
Why not? Anything inside of it. It doesn't have to be from a direct comic. People dress up from all kinds of character stuff.
Yeah, I guess. I wasn't thinking Nickelodeon shows.
You don't think that counts?
I don't think it counts for Comic-Con, no.
You think it's got to be superhero-based?
Yeah, or Star Wars or Marvel or one of the... I don't think picking... That's like me, I guess, picking SpongeBob. I don't know if that really counts as
I think
Comic-Con.
people do dress up as that. I've seen someone as Doodle Bob at a Comic-Con one time. Where it's like the black and white version.
Well, then Drew's going to dress up as the Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
I mean, I don't know how... I don't know how his almost couldn't be something.
That's his show.
Based on everything we've joked about.
Okay.
Drew, what's your answer? I can give one in the Marvel or not other.
No, you're good. I think people agree with you.
Because the Ninja Turtle will be very strong in my count.
Maybe that's just me. People on the text line agree with you saying Doug counts. So, okay.
Drew, what's yours?
I mean, yeah, if we're talking like Marvel stuff, then I'm probably dressing up as Iron Man. I would say is the one.
Man. Full Iron Man. That one just feels like a lot to go out. You got to be a confident person to be dressed as Iron Man.
Yeah, I definitely, and it would also be like with the suit and everything. It'd be hot. You'd be exhausted by the time you were done hanging out.
Text line, someone says they were downtown today, saw a guy in a Spider-Man costume. I was really confused until I remembered Planet Comic-Con is going on.
Yeah, you got to remind
if you see
yourself,
a bunch
right?
of Marvel characters around downtown KC Mo, that is why. Someone else says they can see Cody going as Baby Huey. Somebody else says Quail Man is a superhero. Okay.
That's true. He is a superhero.
Okay.
I would like that. I would like that.
Somebody says you just want an excuse to wear tidy whities, Cody.
It is a funny part of the costume, yes.
Someone else says they would dress as Joe Burrow from an alternate universe where he has three-time Super Bowl champion. Okay.
Is that his make-believe is like a Spider-Man? Boy, that's a little hard.
That wasn't from me. That was the text.
Somebody says the more obscure, the really authentic, the better you are at the Comic-Con. They
Okay.
like when you go like really far down that. Someone said Beetlejuice and would be in character, would absolutely kill it. Somebody said people dress up as Peter Griffin, so that's not out of the question. Somebody said, like you
should
Waldo.
take your kids to this weekend.
I can't. She's got her dance comp.
What about Sunday? Is it over Sunday?
Is
your the Comic-Con's all weekend, right?
The Comic-Con is all weekend. I might be able to on Sunday. I'd have to look. That's possible.
Okay.
I might be able to go on Sunday.
Someone said they would dress as Master Chief from Halo.
Oh, man, that's a classic. But that feels like, again,
Stormtrooper.
Very, very Stormtrooper-esque, right? You're in, like, armored, face-covered. Outside of that, someone says they're 10-8. They just found some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle wrestling shoes. Those looked awesome. That would be very high on my list. It really would. Somebody says wrestler, Macho Man, Randy Savage. Do people go as wrestlers for that?
It sounds like you can wear whatever the hell you want is what this sounds like. I've never been to Comic-Con. I guess you could just dress up as whatever. It's like it's Halloween all over again. Bink, by the way, we should get Bink on the line for this. Bink doesn't like Halloween. I bet you he thinks this is so dumb. I bet you Bink is freaking out when he drives around downtown and sees all this. He's very anti.
Oh yeah, if you were to drive downtown,
Halloween,
so
he's not
going to
like this either.
I think old Nickelodeon shows would be very high. Like I think it'd be funny if you and Drew were dressed up as two members of like the Purple Panthers or whatever, and you're dressed up like you're getting ready to run through, helmet on, like it's Legends of the Hidden Temple, you know?
No, that's a classic show.
I wouldn't, but that's something I think you can wear. Like that is things people wear at Comic-Con. If the two of you were in full gear, or you dress as Olmec,
a double dare contestant or whatever, is that what?
Yeah,
it is?
but I think you got to wear like the helmet, and you got to go all the way in, right?
Oh, if you're gonna dress up, I feel like you have for Comic-Con. I think you have to go all the way, and you can't.
Someone says
you can't do it halfway.
Text like Jar Jar Binks.
Jar Jar Binks.
But for Bink.
I'll tell you right now, anybody on the text line that can get Bink dressed up as Jar Jar Binks for the Comic-Con,
God, he's so good.
I'll pay you $500.
Oh, the amazing.
You get Binkley as Jar Jar Binks at a Comic-Con.
Oh my gosh, it'd be unreal.
You get him as Jar Jar Bink. He's a combination of Jay Binkley and Jar Jar Binks.
Oh my gosh.
You find the perfectly crafted costume that looks like that.
Are you just dressing up, or are you also like giving some of the liners, as you just walk around?
I think you got to know a couple of lines. If
the
somebody's
Stormtroopers don't talk, so I don't have to say.
Well, yeah, but I like if you're like Frozone, you got to do the "Where's my super suit? Where is my super suit?"
I think you do.
You have to be able to pull that
I think
off.
if you're Quail Man, you got to say it like I had to look up the line. You got to say, "I may not be big, but I am small and I possess the powers of the quail."
Yeah. You have to give those lines off.
Thank you. That'll be a drop in the system. Make sure you cut it off right. Just get the first 4 words in there, Drew.
Yeah.
4 or 5 words, and we'll get that as a drop. Thank you.
That's harsh. Cutting me out of context, but then also shortening my clip.
Oh yeah.
You got to at least leave the whole line in
I don't
there.
know. I don't know.
There's always
That's dirty work.
Well, you did. You nearly said something, but you actually ended up saying it earlier today.
I said scrotum.
Yeah.
I almost
That's
said
how we
it, and
started
then
the
you went
show.
ahead and said-
Was that first thing?
That was
Yes,
the
it
first
was.
segment of the show.
10 a.m.
That's tough.
Anyway, that is the random question of the day. Up next, it is a Fan Club Friday brought to you by Jay Rieger & Co. We're on remote, but we will talk a little bit about that. We'll also talk some Sweet 16, some final thoughts on over-unders for the Royals, including my favorite bet for the season. That's next here on Cody and Gold as we broadcast live from Rally House in Independence.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
When Kansas City storms roll through, hail and wind can damage your roof without you even realizing it. If your home was hit, call us at Century Roofing for a free inspection today. We handle every step with your insurance company, making the process stress-free and easy for you. For over 35 years and more than 35,000 roofs, we've been protecting Kansas City homes. Let us protect yours. Trust the pillars of strength with KC-based and female-owned. Century Roofing, KC.com.
Century Roofing, trust the pillars of strength.
Hey, it's Rex here with Rex Buys KC. I get it. Selling your house can sometimes feel overwhelming or scary, right? I've seen it too many times. A homeowner thought they had a deal, only to have the buyer back out at the last minute. That's not how we do business at Rex Buys KC. I'm local, I know Kansas City, and I make sure every deal actually closes like it's supposed to. No hidden fees, no showings, no last-minute surprises, just a fair cash offer and a process you can count on. We buy homes in any condition and judgment-free. So whether your house needs repairs or you just want a fast, hassle-free sale, we can make it happen. If you want certainty, transparency, and someone local who actually delivers, call 816-330-6000 or visit rexbuyskc.com. Rex Buys KC, helping people make smart choices one home at a time. 816-330-6000 or rexbuyskc.com.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose the weight or stop smoking. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis, Wednesday, April 1st at the Wingate by Wyndham, Kansas City. Formerly Sure Stay Plus by Best Western in Kansas City. Lose weight hypnosis 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com.
What matters to you matters to us. That's why Busey Bank takes the time to understand your goals and build solutions that fit your story. From everyday banking to long-term planning, our team is here to help you navigate every stage with care and expertise. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbor, your advisor, and your advocate. Busey Bank. Building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Hey, it's Rob Britton from The Drive on 96.5 The Fan, and we're excited to announce the launch of Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series documenting the run-up to the World Cup with our friends over at 98.1 KMBZ.
And Rob, I'm Scott Parks from Dana and Parks on KMBZ. Beyond the Pitch KC will feature the biggest names who made the World Cup in Kansas City possible. Plus, the biggest storylines heading into this summer's tournament. This is not a podcast about soccer. Don't get us wrong. This is a podcast about Kansas City. This is a podcast for Kansas City. And this is a podcast that'll tell the story of how our town is hosting the world's biggest sporting event.
New episodes will be released every Wednesday starting on March 4th, as well as video clips that can be seen on 96.5 The Fan and KMBZ's social channels.
Subscribe and download to Beyond the Pitch KC, a limited podcast series with myself and Rob Bretton on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
DQ presents The Spicy Menu. For a limited time, try the new Flamethrower Chicken Strip Basket for $6.99 with spicy, bold strips that heat you up.
served with a side of famous DQ soft serve as a dip to cool you down. That's right, dip those spicy chicken strips right into soft serve, plus fries and toast, all for just $6.99. And add a new pineapple lemonade sparkler or cooler made with tahini. It's the limited time only Swicy menu. Get it delivered in the DQ app. Happy tastes good. Participation may vary.
Who says vaping is safer than cigarettes? Science does not support that belief. Vapes can contain a variety of chemicals, flavoring agents, cancer-causing elements, and other harmful substances. High levels of nicotine in some vapes can be more likely to lead to addiction, and chemical ingredients are not always listed accurately on vaping packages. Vaping can also damage your DNA, your heart, your lungs, and even your smile. Enough with the puff. Learn more at ul.org/vaping.
Sponsored by Underwriters Laboratories.
What's up, KC? It's Chris Bubich. Tune in all season long to the play-by-play with Denny, Jake, Ryan, and Stu right here on your home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station.
Well, I knew Drew was going to come back with something after that conversation we just had.
You're talking Kags. He could have come back with JAC, although he's not in the lineup.
Jeez,
So
I have been
don't have the same juice.
I've been a bad producer in that respect. Cody texted me pre-show and said, hey, anytime we're talking Royals, if you're going to come back with any of those songs, I've come back with none of them.
That's right. I would like Michael, JAC.
Monday, okay?
Pasquantino. Monday. Can we do that on Monday?
Yes, there was a moment yesterday where I didn't throw you under the bus, Cody, necessarily, but we talked. I forget. The random question of the day yesterday was if you could swap voices with somebody, who would it be? And somebody said Drew would want Cody's voice singing. I was like,
he said, I don't know about that.
I'll take Matthew McConaughey, you know?
He said, I don't know about that.
Matthew McConaughey. I don't want to sound like that.
I said like
all right,
Morgan
all
Freeman
right.
or somebody like that.
Yeah, you said Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Anyway, that was the
Jake
ring
Eisenberg
question.
is my answer.
And Jake Eisenberg joined us earlier today. He'll be on the call tonight on 96.5 The Fan. If you missed some of that, you'll hear our conversation with him in about 10 minutes or so. We asked him about being in Atlanta for opening day, but also about the lineup at the time. That was before the lineup came out.
Yeah.
And you'll hear his answer, and he was speculating even before the lineup came out that we would not see Jack Kagleon facing Chris Sale because of the lefty-righty matchup. So that's something you'll hear his explanation. I know everybody's talking about the lineup for opening day as it's always scrutinized, but today it's definitely different than what a lot of people were expecting, and myself included, and that is that Lane Thomas is batting third and playing center. Marte is in right field, and Jack Kagleon is not in the lineup, and Carter Jensen is DHing. So we'll get into that with Jake Eisenberg in just a couple of minutes, and that was, again, before the lineup was originally announced. This is a Fan Club Friday still, even though we're on remote, but
sure
it is a Fan Club Friday brought to you by our friends over at J. Rieger & Co.
You can drink at Maloney's later. You can get your Rieger there. That way you're all taken care of.
We'll be watching the Royals game at Maloney's tonight. Everybody's invited out there, and so Rieger will be flowing a little bit, my guess is. Also maybe in the parking lot on Monday for some tailgating. We are still for another hour out here at Rally House in Independence. Still time to come by, register to win a pair of home opener tickets for Monday. Also, we've got 4 $100 gift cards to Rally House that you can register to win. You have about 55 more minutes to get out here and stop by East 39th Street. That's the location here for Rally House in Independence. All right, let's briefly pivot to what's going to happen tonight on the court, not the diamond. Sweet 16 continues. Last night, the first two games were phenomenal. We saw Purdue, of course, take care of Texas. We also saw Iowa come from behind to beat Nebraska, so it sets up a matchup.
That game started. It didn't look like it was going to be Iowa's night.
Yeah, and Bing McCollum continues to do an unbelievable job with Iowa. So Iowa gets Illinois as Illinois upset Houston last night, and then Arizona just rolled in their game against Arkansas. It was, I believe, the largest defeat in a tournament for Calipari ever, I believe. If something like that. I think I saw that floating around last night. Tonight, though, what's the game? What's the game you guys are looking forward to the most? Because I'm intrigued just to see what St. John's looks like. We saw them beat Kansas. They didn't play well. Kansas, of course, was terrible. St. John's won. Now they get a number one overall C team in Duke. It usually goes one of two ways. Either St. John's is going to go on this magical run and beat the one seed, or you're going to get upset if you're a KU fan and watch St. John's get their butts kicked by Duke tonight.
It's the same way I feel about and maybe it's because I was right on this one. I had told you, Drew, on Wednesday, I was like, it's been a nice story, Arkansas. Arizona's going to turn the lights off, right? Like, that's it for you.
Yeah.
I feel the same way about St. John's. This is not a favorable matchup for them. They're not going to, I don't think in 2 games in a row, someone's going to be completely thrown off or inability to get an inbound pass going. And the problem is when you get those inbound passes going, you got a talented team like Duke. they can break you and then get easy buckets. And so I just think that St. John's story ends tonight, so I'm not super hyped about that one. For me, it's either the UConn-Michigan State game or Iowa State-Tennessee, because I think those are the two best matchups of the night, and the two I'm least sure about who is going to win. In the Iowa State game, it really is, if Jefferson plays, I think they win. If he doesn't, I think Tennessee wins. It may be that simple for me in this matchup tonight, even though I predicted Iowa State to go to the Final Four, then eventually lose to, I think, Arizona is who they'd face in the Final Four, or Elite Eight. I can't remember their matchup, but I had them losing the
Arizona-Purdue is coming up.
Or I had them losing in the Final Four. Yeah, that's right.
And
Arizona-Purdue.
Potentially Arizona-Michigan in the Final Four if they both win.
So I eventually had Iowa State losing in the Final Four. And so it's not that I have it there. But those two games for me, UConn and Michigan State is easily one of those, like, I don't want to discount Michigan State or Tom Izzo's ability to win.
Yeah, Izzo and Hurley. I mean,
that's two of the most successful tournament coaches of all time. So, like, how can that not be intriguing to me? Two of the best at getting teams deep into a tournament? Yeah, I'm interested in that. Although I'm tired of UConn winning it. That's a program, boy, I don't need to see win anymore there for a while. So I'm actively, I don't know, I got a good friend in town who's a big UConn fan, but he went there. So it makes sense.
At least he went there.
Yeah. So, you gotta give him that. But other than him and liking him a lot and him being a great guy, it's hard to root for UConn. They're an easy team to root against, if that's the case.
Yeah, it's the East Coast mentality.
Who do you think wins all four? Can I get a quick prediction out of you?
Today?
I think Iowa State, UConn, Duke, and Michigan all win. Are my four quick guesses. Drew, are yours the same as that or different?
No, they're different. I think Duke, Michigan State, and Iowa State win.
So you got Michigan State instead of UConn.
Yep.
But we got the same other than that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I have Duke, Michigan as well, UConn. I'm going with Tennessee to upset Iowa State. And then even tomorrow, I actually think Illinois will beat Iowa.
I do too.
I think so as well.
I have Illinois in the championship game, so that's not. I just thought Illinois was one of the best teams.
Everybody thought, Iowa was going to lose to Nebraska, and they didn't. But Iowa was on a ridiculous run. But
admittedly,
I don't know.
Illinois is one of the few teams that I've watched regularly outside of the Big 12 this year. And every time I watch them, I'm like, that team can play. It's like every time I watch them play, Drew, I was like, I think they've got star power, balance, coaching, whatever it is, they just seem to have it.
Yeah.
Is what I guess I felt like as far as the team goes. And so I was very much convinced that they were, the kind of team who could go on a run. But then they also get the benefit of Iowa's a better matchup for them than having to take on a 1 or a 2 or a 3 seed later on. So if they can, as they blew the doors off their matchup last night, you got to think that's a favorable matchup for them to get to the Final Four again. So we'll see. I just, I'm again interested. We got 2 good games last night, 2 miserable ones. I think it's going to be the opposite tonight. I think the late games are going to be the close ones, and the early games are going to be the duds. Do you think one of those is going to be close? Do you think Duke St. John's? You've defended St. John's as making people play their style of game.
Yeah, I think St. John's and Duke will be a good game, at least until the last maybe 4 or 5 minutes of the game. I don't think it'll be like what Duke did to TCU. I know Caleb Foster could play, he might get some minutes tonight, which if they can beat St. John's, then looking ahead to the weekend or even the Final Four potentially if they get there, that obviously is something to pay attention for Duke. But yeah, I think St. John's can keep it close just because Zuby is so good, and then obviously, Cam Boozer's really established, of course, his ability leadership-wise, and they've got a ton of great players. I think it'll be a closer game than, I don't know if it'll cover the spread necessarily, St. John's, but I think the game will be tight up until late.
All right, let's get into some Royals baseball again as we get set for opening night tonight right here on 96.5 The Fan. Earlier today, one of the voices you'll hear tonight, along with Denny Matthews, Jake Eisenberg joined us for his weekly Friday visit here on Cody and Gold. And remember, this was a conversation before the lineup came out, but we did get into what he thinks the lineup would look like, and he called it earlier today. Maybe he had some insight on that. He did not think Kags was going to be in the lineup. Here was our conversation with Jake, including right off the bat, being down in Atlanta, setting the scene a little bit for us.
Yeah, that was a pretty cool scene, and seeing Cole, just walk out onto the field at Truist Park yesterday and kind of take it all in. And I think that's sort of what we were all doing when we were there yesterday for the workout. I'll admit it's been kind of an odd week where you leave spring training last Saturday, and then you have the off day Sunday, and then exhibition games Monday, Tuesday, and then back-to-back off days here. And it was kind of like that, weird feeling watching everybody else's opening day celebrations yesterday, and the silver lining was getting to watch all of it, but it was weird to not be a part of it. And now we get to be a part of it, and we get to have opening day ourselves, and then we get to do it again on Monday. So officially, gentlemen, happy opening day. We've made it to the Royals baseball season.
I hate that they made us wait in a whole extra 24 hours. I feel like, we're getting shortchanged a little, although that does mean that we get baseball all weekend, Jake, so I guess I can take that as a win. No off day after you finally get a taste of baseball.
Yeah, they switched they took away the rain day, as they call it, here in Atlanta. We will have the off day on Tuesday in Kansas City. That is what they call the rain day, and hopefully we won't need that at all. So that'll be obviously a little bit weird, but we get baseball all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 7:15 Eastern, 6:15 Central tonight for Cole Reagans and Chris Sale.
We can talk about some of the other individual players here in just a minute, but as far as the rotation goes, obviously last year it still ranked as one of the best rotations in baseball, even without Cole Reagans for a chunk of the season last year. Should our expectations be even higher than what they've been able to do the last 2 years, because that's been the driving force behind their success?
I mean, that wouldn't be unreasonable. To your point, the rotation last year had a 3.80 ERA. That was 7th in baseball, and that was only 13 starts of Cole Reagans. And keep in mind that in those 13 starts, his ERA was over 5. And then you don't have Chris Bubic for all of August and September, and he was an all-star in the first half of last season and one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. And so the Royals rotation put up those numbers last year largely with, the incredible reinforcements. Noah Cameron's outstanding rookie season, Stephen Kolek and Ryan Berger being the August and September pitchers of the month for the Royals after they came over in a trade. Seth Lugo had a really good first half, but a very not good second half. Michael Wacha was steady as she goes, as he's been really his entire career, really one of the more underrated, high floor starting pitchers there is in baseball. So yeah, I think the expectation should be pretty high for this rotation that is at full strength on opening day with your ace on the mound, a guy in Seth Lugo, who again, as poorly as last year ended, I don't think we should forget how good the beginning of last season was. He was an all-star snub. Michael Wacha's back in there too, again, as steady as it gets. Chris Bubic is fully healthy. Noah Cameron just had a great rookie year. And if and when need be, the depth is really good with Ryan Berger right now in AAA, Stephen Kolek coming back from the oblique injury. Lewinter Avila is waiting in the wings and can be sort of a hybrid. Put him in the bullpen, have him as a starter if need be. I think this is a really, really good rotation top to bottom. Frankly, I'd stack it up with any rotation in baseball 1 through 5 right now.
Which means you think that it stacks up against the Tigers, because that's inevitably the question over the division, because people give them the edge there. But in my mind, even though I think the Tigers are really good, I like the Royals' bullpen and lineup better than the Tigers, and I do think that their rotation on its best day is on par, at the very least, with the Tigers. Maybe better, depending on the top-end stuff they get out of Cole Reagans this year, but it is certainly on par.
Yeah, I would agree, and that's why, I think from the outside looking in, when you look at the national prognosticators and everyone's making their picks, it seems like the sentiment is that there's a decent gap between the Tigers and the Royals for a reason that I don't particularly understand, given everything you just said. I think the rotation stacks up. No, you don't have the back-to-back Cy Young winner in Tarek Skubal, and Framber Valdez has always been nasty. That's a heck of a 1-2 punch. There's no discounting that. The Tigers' bullpen, I think, is pretty solid. Yeah, you've got a future Hall of Famer at the back end there with Kenley Jansen. I think the Royals' bullpen is really solid, too. And I think both offenses have some interesting pieces, but I think the Royals' offense definitely has a higher ceiling with the caliber of players, especially in the top half of the lineup with Michael Garcia and Bobby Witt Jr., Vinny Pasquantino and Salvador Perez. And, if Carter and Cags take that big step forward, I mean, you're looking at what could be a top 10 offense in baseball. And again, as poorly as last year began for the Royals offense, it finished last year as a top 10 offense in the second half of the season in terms of runs per game and also hitting with runners in scoring position. They really flipped the script offensively, and it's largely the same group.
We're talking with Jake Eisenberg. Of course, he's on the broadcast tonight with Denny Matthews on 96.5 The Fan. You mentioned the lineup a little bit, and you compare opening day, last year's lineup. You look at what we projected to be later on tonight down in Atlanta. How deep is this lineup? And I know so much potentially is going to be predicated on what they get from Jack Kagleon or Elaine Thomas at some point in time during the season. But it just feels like the lineup, when you even just look at the eye test, you feel better about it, I guess, than I compare it to last year's opening day lineup.
Yeah, and look, time will tell, as time always does tell. I think one thing to keep in mind with tonight is that the lineup tonight, I would not be surprised if it looks a little bit different than people might be expecting it to look because the Royals are facing a really tough lefty in Chris Sale. Sure, it's opening day, but you're still facing a tough lefty in Chris Sale. And so I'm pretty sure you're going to see the right-handed bats in there like Lane Thomas and Starling Marte. I think we got a sneak preview of what this lineup could look like on Monday when the Royals face Mackenzie Gore and the Rangers, and we saw Lane Thomas hitting third and Starling Marte also in there and playing right field. I'm not sure if that's the order, but I would be pretty surprised at this point if those guys weren't in there. I don't know. That's probably at the expense of a Kyle Isbell. I don't know if Cags will be in there or not, but basically I'm not so sure that the opening day lineup is necessarily going to look like the lineup, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. I understand because, like, the lefty in. But for, like, Jack Kagleon, there is no player in my mind, Jake, who needs to have a better start than him. Like, the way I talk to him, like Vern says this, too, it's like some of it is when he's confident and playing with confidence, he does seem to be a different level of player when he is at that level versus last year when it got shook for the first time, right, where he was tested in a way that he hadn't been tested up to that point. I feel like it's really important he gets off to a good start this year.
Yeah, and look, I think he's already gotten off to a good start. I mean, the walk rate was really impressive in spring training and also during the WBC with Team Italy. So I think the confidence is already there, especially from those, higher pressure games with the World Baseball Classic. I keep coming back to this with Jack. Last year, he joined the Royals and made his big league debut at a time where the Royals scoring runs was trying to land on the moon. It felt like it was near impossible. And I think there was a good amount of pressure, and I'm positing this. I think there was a good amount of pressure to be the guy and be the savior. And I think it's easy to look across baseball and see a player like Nick Kurtz, who you played against in college and was drafted 2 picks before you and ultimately winds up as Rookie of the Year, having this great season and thinking, I should be doing that and then some, especially after the results in AAA. And then, to get punched in the mouth by the big leagues a little bit, that's definitely humbling. But I keep coming back to the fact that this year, he doesn't have to be the guy. There's zero pressure for him to be the guy. He is a part of the supporting cast for now and certainly could be a part of the main cast by the time the season ends. But he's got time and space to mesh into this lineup in a way that I'm not sure that he had in the same way last year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I definitely think there's less pressure on him. In the World Baseball Classic, like that bat flip, that at least was like, okay, that's Florida Cags. Like that's minor league AA Cags, right? That's when like things are humming and it feels like it's there. Look, I'm still very high on him. I think he's going to hit 35 home runs this year. There's no doubt. It just feels like
I like it.
I don't want like a beginning of season struggle to turn into a season long stuff. But I also agree with him that he's got to be an everyday player. So like as much as like they're up against a tough lefty tonight, I think I want him in there against tough lefties most nights. It doesn't have to be tonight necessarily. I don't know the opening day lineup, obviously. But like moving forward as the season goes on, I want him in there just like Vinny would be up against any pitcher,
Yeah, so that certainly would be the goal. And I think ultimately, hopefully he starts as hot as anybody and carries that through. I guess my point was that if there is a slow start for some reason, it's not something I'm worried about because there's time and other pieces around him where he doesn't need to carry the load.
Correct.
The way that, we were maybe hoping that he might in June last year when he came up.
Jake, how about second base? We know, unfortunately, Michael Massey is on the IL to start the season. He has struggled to stay healthy. Jonathan India had injuries last year. He's going to be starting at second tonight. The fan base, I know, was pretty disappointed a season ago with what they got from Jonathan India. Heck, I think the Royals were disappointed with what they got from Jonathan India. What have you seen throughout spring? He was not part of the WBC, so he was there for the duration of spring. What are you seeing from him, and do you think there is a real possibility that he can at least be what he was in Cincinnati?
Yeah, I think there was disappointment all around, and that includes from Jonathan India, too. It was career worst numbers. There's no hiding from that. He did have an injury the second half of the year that he was playing through, but, players will not make excuses like that. I think, India during spring training, I talked to him a couple of times, and I'll say this, he seemed so much more comfortable and loose and outgoing and happy is not the right word because he was happy last year too, at certain points, obviously not with the way he was playing, but like just in general humanity. But he just seemed to have a little bit more pep in his step and felt a little lighter. And I think that's just a level of comfort in being, back with the Royals year two. I think that there was maybe an underrated amount of assimilation that, look, every player is different, every person's different. When you jump into a new space with new people in a new city and new ballparks, like that's going to be more challenging for some people than others. And I think that was maybe an underrated part of why it might have been a challenging season for India. As far as the baseball side is concerned, the underlying numbers last year, you look at them and you're like, okay, I see, where there might have been some room for, bad luck in some of these numbers. Like the underlying numbers were good in some respects. And then during spring training this year, when I talked to him, he's got a pretty good understanding of his zone. The walks, he drew, I think it was like 3 times as many walks as he had strikeouts this spring. And there are certain things in spring training that you look at offensively and you're like, yeah, if you hit a bunch of homers, it's Arizona, it's hot, the ball travels. But plate discipline and exit velocity are 2 things that tend to carry over pretty well, especially with the advent of ABS. So I think the plate discipline is certainly there. I also think hitting in the lower half of the lineup is going to help too. Last year, runners in scoring position, he had a 900 OPS with runners in scoring position last year. So as difficult as was the season that he had hitting out of the leadoff spot with the bases empty, when he came up in those bigger situations, he was among the Royals' more consistent players. Hit nearly 300, OPS of about 900 with runners in scoring position. Look, opening day is the day of ultimate optimism, right? And so from my perspective, there is no reason not to believe that Jonathan India can have the bounce-back season that he and the Royals are hoping that he does.
2 years ago, the surprising player was Seth Lugo. Last year was either Michael Garcia or Noah Cameron, who surprisingly took big leaps or came through in a way that we didn't expect. You got a player you think that might be able to do that for the Royals this year, or is this just too established of a team to be picking somebody to perform that isn't the guys we already know?
I'll go with Lane Thomas. I mean, he's an established big leaguer, sure, but I think he was maybe written off a little bit after the tough injury-plagued seasons he had the last couple of years in Cleveland, especially last year when he only played 39 games. But, I mean, we're talking about a guy that was a 2020 player, just a couple of years ago. And over the last few full healthy seasons that he's had, 60 homers, 60 steals. This is a power speed combo. He can go get it at all 3 outfield positions. I thought this was a really savvy signing when it happened. I think we're going to look back on this as a really savvy signing. I think he's going to be a more significant contributor that maybe we thought he would be when that signing happened in December. So if you're looking for, a not so obvious surprise pick, that'll be the one for me. It's Lane Thomas.
Yeah, I like that answer. We've talked a lot about Lane Thomas. I just think because of the power potential, something they just didn't have in the outfield. I would not surprise me. You said, Cody, 35 homers for Kags. A breakout, I could see Lane Thomas pushing 25 or 30 this year. That's
28 is career high, so it's not crazy. Yeah. Fences are in, Jake. Have you gotten a preview of that yet?
No, I haven't been in Kansas City since February 17th.
Okay.
So no, I haven't seen the fences yet. Only what I've seen from pictures and videos from news outlets and things like that. I'm excited to see what it looks like. I don't think it's going to look, at least from the booth, all that noticeably different. I mean, can you really perceive, a 10-foot difference? But maybe I'm wrong. I do know that the corners might look a little bit more angular, so that'll be something that maybe I'll notice. I'm excited to see it. Oh, man, I'm so excited to be back in Kansas City Sunday night and then get the home opener on Monday. I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing.
We might make you double dip. Will you come join us again on Monday outside Gate D?
Absolutely. Time and place. You name it, I'm there.
There you go. That was Jake Eisenberg earlier with us today. Our coverage for opening day is brought to you by Park and Go, the best deal on airport parking. People in the text line are convinced because that was from earlier that Jake just knew the lineup. They're like, he was way too spot on the lineup. He might have just known when he was talking to us earlier.
He mentioned Marte. He mentioned Thomas.
He had to have known.
He mentioned maybe no Jack Kagleon.
With Chris Sale on the bump. He kind of knew. But again, Lane Thomas has almost a 900 OPS against lefties. So he kills lefties. Mm-hmm. Having Lane Thomas in the lineup makes sense. Seeing him hit third feels weird. But this is also part of the problem that they had is they didn't have anybody to hit against lefties last year. It's a lefty-heavy lineup. When you have Kags and Carter Jensen and Vinny Pasquantino, you start being like, well, it's kind of lefty-heavy. You need somebody who's good against lefties. That's Lane Thomas's specialty. He is very good at hitting against lefties. So I'm not surprised to see that part of it. I was a little surprised to see Jack Kagleon not in the lineup, but at the same time, I think I get what they're going for there. Up next, we'll get to what's trending as we will continue broadcasting live from Rally House here in Independence. We'll also give a couple of our favorite season-long bets and predictions around the Royals right here on Cody and Gold.
What's up, KC? It's Carter Jensen. You're listening to Cody Gold on your home for Royals baseball, 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. 96.5 The Fan.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Feeling the heat? Don't sweat it. Turn to Comfort Systems Heating and Cooling. With temperatures rising, now's the time to make sure your AC is ready to keep you cool. Whether it's your home or your business, Comfort Systems services both residential and commercial systems across the Kansas City area. Call today for a fast tune-up, repair, or a system upgrade so you can stay cool all summer long. Family owned and operated since 1990. Comforting people is what we do. Comfort Systems is right for you. MyComfortSystems.com.
It's about time delivery worked on your schedule. Same day, next day, or scheduled in advance. However you plan it, the Home Depot delivers the whole job. From drywall to doors, plumbing to paint, we'll get it there when you need it. Because on the job site, timing is everything. You order, we deliver. It's that easy. The Home Depot Pro. It's about time.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line.
But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast!
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Brought to you by Kalshi. Trade on anything.
March matchups are here. Trade the tournament in all 50 states on Kalshi. St. John's is trading at 29% to beat Duke. A $100 trade pays out $328 if they win. Download the Kalshi app and use code FAN to get $10 off when you trade. KALSHI. Kalshi. Trade on anything.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the DM Injury Law Studios. Mike's got this.
Car, truck, or motorcycle wreck? Remember, Mike's got this.
816-888-7500. Mike's got this. Hey, it's Scott Parks, and we've launched Beyond the Pitch KC, a podcast on how Kansas City landed the world's largest sporting event, presented by Commerce Bank. Visit commercebank.com/soccer26. Subscribe on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's trending?
Cheddar, mozzarella, Havarti.
What's Trending is brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete, trusted in Kansas City since 1994. One contractor, all things parking lot.
Number one on What's Trending, of course, Royals, Braves, opening day in Atlanta tonight. You can hear the game right here on 96.5 The Fan. Vern's On Deck show coming up at 5 o'clock here on 96.5 The Fan. The lineup is out, and that has had people talking, including right here at Rally House. Yep. People are bummed out, and I am as well. No Jack Kagleon in the lineup, but if you're wondering, a couple of the notable lineup, maybe surprises. But they are facing a lefty, and that's Chris Sale, an elite lefty. Lane Thomas is going to play center, batting third. Starling Marte is playing right field. He is batting sixth. Also, you have Carter Jensen as the DH. So my guess is Cags will get into the game tonight, but he is not going to be in the opening day lineup, which has bummed some folks out.
Next up on What's Trending, five-time Gold Glove winner and World Series winner Jason Hayward has announced his retirement after 16 years in the major leagues. Obviously started off his career, excellent part of his career, with the Atlanta Braves, the team they're playing tonight, and then had a pretty long run with the Chicago Cubs as well before his career eventually came to a stall. Not a Hall of Famer by any means, just one of those classic, in my opinion, but one of those classic, just a great MLB career. But Jason Hayward hangs it up after 16 seasons.
Sweet 16 continues tonight. 6:10 start. St. John's, the 5 seed, taking on a 1 seed Duke. At 6:35, we get the 4-1 matchup. Alabama taking on Michigan. Then at 8:45 tonight, it's Michigan State taking on UConn. In the late game tonight, that's the 6-2 matchup between Tennessee and Iowa State. That's at 9:10. So the Sweet 16, again, a berth to the Elite 8 on the line. We already found out 2 of our Elite 8 matchups last night. On Saturday night, we're going to get Iowa and Illinois with a trip to the Final Four on the line. Same thing with Purdue, the 2 seed, taking on 1 seed Arizona.
Can't wait. Love some college basketball. College basketball and baseball, Sweet 16 action. That's tough to beat. Royals opening day and high-level basketball. Next up on What's Trending, the NBA has submitted 3 concepts of possible anti-tanking measures. That, according to Shams, who got a list of the 3 proposals. In the first proposal, the bottom is 18 teams, the bottom 10 that missed the play-in tournament, and the 8 teams that qualify for it will all be a part of the draft lottery with increased odds for the teams who finish better. The second proposal says that the bottom 10 teams it'll include 22 teams in the possible lottery. The bottom 10 teams that miss the play-in tournament and the 8 that qualify for it, plus 4 playoff teams.
This is the craziest
would
one.
also be included part of it, and that they'll be ranked according to their records across 2 seasons, not 1. So it's changing the entire floor of it to go with it. So there's a lot of stuff. And then the third proposal is 5x5 method, which is the same 18 teams as the first concept, but then they just changed the math around it a little bit. Why do you not like the second one so much, Drew? It is including 22 teams in the possible drawing for the number 1 overall pick is a lot.
Yeah, the reason the second one is crazy is because it says the first 4 teams eliminated essentially from each side, which is we see upsets like 7-2 sometimes. So let's say the Spurs are I know the odds are going to be less because they're going to change the records, go off the 2 seasons. But if the Spurs get upset by, let's say, the 7th seed is the Timberwolves, the Spurs all of a sudden are back in the lottery again. I don't know.
It's a low chance, but they would be in it. Yeah.
Yeah. That happening.
Don't be bad.
Sounds a little bit odd to me, at least from that standpoint.
In a weird way, I guess this is like the argument, obviously, versus American sports versus European sports. It is uniquely American in sports to constantly favor bad teams. Like, you stink. Here's some help.
Yeah.
Sorry you stink. It's like, no, pull yourself up by the bootstraps instead, right? Don't stink. Try to win. Spend money. Those are, of course, the arguments on the other side of it to go with it. But they're at least continuing to look at anything they can do to curb tanking.
That's what's trending here on Cody and Gold.
Brought to you by Gann Asphalt and Concrete. Trusted in Kansas City since 1994. I was like, Gold's being quiet.
I was waiting. I was waiting.
I got to support my boys over again. I
waiting.
Apologize.
Peel back the curtain. There's certain ones that I know I read. There's certain ones that Cody reads. And I purposely was waiting. That
was on me.
I was waiting.
You paused long enough. I'm like, I should be doing something here.
By the way,
real awkward.
It is a Fan Club Friday brought to you by Jay Rieger. And as Cody said, we'll probably be consuming some of that this evening over at Maloney's in Overland Park. Hope to see you guys out there. It is a busy Friday with the Royals opening up. So we're out here at Rally House in Independence for another 25 minutes or so. So there still is time if you happen to be in the area. I'm supposed to say that. We don't want anybody rushing over here.
Yeah, don't speed.
You got 25 minutes if you happen to be in the area to register to win opening day tickets or home opener tickets. I guess I keep saying that wrong. And also 4 $100 gift cards are up for grabs. So we got a full bin today, but there's still time to add your name to this list if you want to sign up for that and register to win. Stop by the Rally House here in Independence off of 39th Street.
So we didn't get to it early in the show, and I want to talk about it. Not the Royals making their uniforms slightly more blue.
Yeah,
which I don't know if anybody did. You guys see that?
The royal lettering is lighter blue.
It's I would call it a brighter blue.
Okay.
I don't know if I would necessarily say it's a different shade, but it is like more. It's brighter in its color.
Okay.
But I want to talk briefly about the thing I missed yesterday, which was Phil Lavoda announcing that they're task squatting it up, and they're going to take a look at the Truman Sports Complex and say, if you for even 1 second believe a single photo that they sent out yesterday of what the Truman Sports Complex could become, whoo, let me tell you, ain't no way. We've spent 40 years and both teams are leaving that area. And now you're telling me all of a sudden it could be the greatest entertainment district that's ever existed on planet Earth? I don't buy it, man.
Yeah, you missed the...
I don't buy it.
You missed the announcement for the announcement press conference yesterday. We did not carry it live, thank goodness. And... look, I hope they come up with something for that site so it's not just sitting there. But every single rendering that they put out was not based on any actual plan. They might as well have had a rendering that showed that there was a beach and an ocean with the stadiums right there.
Yeah.
Honestly, they might as well have done that. That's how far-fetched it is. So we'll see what they come up with. I hope it's more than just a data center. But some of those
Did you look at any of the renderings, Cody?
I did. They're all ridiculous.
I mean, the horse racetrack with palm trees and a Ferris wheel and 3 hotels. Okay.
And a Christmas tree the size of the moon.
Okay.
Drew, I actually think it's more likely that I get to live in Clark Hunt's, like that it becomes my personal residence, Arrowhead. And I get to just like live in Clark Hunt's like condominium inside of there. I think that's more likely than some of the renderings they sent out. That Alex and I turn into a buddy comedy and you and I live in Clark Hunt's place. Inside of Arrowhead. Would you do it if they gave you free rent for a year?
Just give me the penthouse for 1 weekend, please.
1 weekend?
1 weekend.
You want a weekend party at the...
Yeah,
turn it into an Airbnb. Jackson County's Airbnb, and you can stay at Clark Hunt's penthouse.
Yeah, I just think it's... one, they didn't need to have the press conference because they had nothing to announce.
Yeah.
And the renderings that were out there, I mean, truly, were not based on anything.
It's the most pie-in-the-sky stuff I've ever seen.
It is the most unrealistic rendering after rendering for what they might end up doing out there.
I did think it was interesting that they were asked, are you guys gonna tear down Kaufman and everything like that? He goes, well, we haven't decided that yet, so they might leave Arrowhead up and Kaufman up at this rate. They don't even know what they're gonna do with that.
Exactly, they don't know what they're doing.
Which is kind of nuts.
They don't know. What they're doing.
There's no
all.
plan, but they're going to try to form a plan, which at least is.
And this task force, I'm sure the task force and the committee and whatever consulting firm they're hired, they'll spend a few $1 million to come up with some type of plan eventually.
They said 90 days, which would get us to June 27th. Do we see a Royals? Do we know the Royals site by the time we get to June 27th? Or do we hear this first?
Well, it's another opening day.
Another opening day without the Royals Stadium announcement. Which there were some people that thought somehow they were going to announce that before opening day.
You and I both were not believers of that. But
I'll still say by middle of the season. So we'll go June. I'll go June 15th. By June 15th, we know, and that's probably not even giving myself enough of a runway here.
Yeah, I mean at this point, just mark me down to 27 or something. Like I kind of done counting the days because it doesn't feel really viable. But look, it's really tough because both teams are in a good spot right now. You and I had said this with the Chiefs Stadium, and I kind of agree with the Royals sense. The Royals, as it sits right now, they have one of the 5 best players in the sport. They have likable players, like fan favorites, and Vinny Pasquantino. They got a great pitching staff. This is a good time to continue the next step of your franchise's history, and I get it. Like as we sit here, and there's like wood carve-outs that are decorative pieces for your room that say Kauffman Stadium, and they got the stadium layout. I do still love Kauffman Stadium. Looking forward to being there on Monday. But it's like the Royals at some point do have to get their feet out of the sand. They have to make movement in that direction. But like every AI-generated graphic or whatever I saw on the Truman, it was the most pie in the sky. Like it would be the same as me saying I think the Royals are winning 120 games this year and winning the World Series. That's how optimistic it felt. That they're going to set the single-season win total and they're winning the World Series. And also, to go with that, Bobby Wood Jr. has decided to play for $1, and he would like to just try to repeat as champions. And he's given up his entire salary so that they can sign more players, and they repeat as champions again next year. That's how optimistic it seemed, did it not?
Yeah. No, it definitely did, and it was comical yesterday, quite honestly. All right, let's get to some more on this season, though, and this Royals team. We already gave our win totals, as everybody does on opening day. You and I both happened to write down the same number of 89. Drew's at 90, so we're all right in the same ballpark. A couple other like season-long predictions and bets that I kind of like. One, you guys know we did our bold prediction earlier week. I do think Matt Quatraro, if you think the Royals are winning the division, is in play for manager of the year.
10-1 or 20-1? Where can you
some
get
sites had 22-1. Another FanDuel's down to 9-1. I think
so. Shop
a flyer bet of all flyers that I like. Vinny to lead the entire big leagues in RBIs, 50-1.
Was he pretty close last year?
He was in the top. What was it? We looked this up the other day. Yes, to answer your question, somewhat close. And he had a slow April. And he had a really slow April. That's one. And then another one, Michael Garcia, over 270 batting average. You and I both like that one.
I do really like that one. I like the upper end numbers where I can get 3 or 4 to 1 on Cags to hit over 35. Although, again, admittedly, today hurts me, right? In the case that I got to get enough games for him to hit home runs in order for that to make some sense. I still think even though he led it 2 years ago, you're getting good value on Bobby Wood Jr. to lead the league in batting average. I know he dropped like 50 points last year. All the other ancillary numbers stayed high for him. So there's a big reason to think that those things are going to continue to go with it. For what it's worth on the Vinny one, he had 113 ribbies last year. He would have had over 100 RBI if he didn't get hurt at the end of the season before. The leader last year was 132, 126, 125. He was at 113. He was only, and you would think, Gold, there will hypothetically be more people on base from this year. And last year, he had significantly worse with runners in scoring position than they did the year before. So if he's somewhere in between what he was 2 years ago and last year, he would get more RBI just simply by hitting better in that spot. And if you think that he's going to hit 45 homers like Drew does, then you should absolutely bet it. It'd be real easy to get the most RBI if you at least get to that stretch. I still think, even after today, I still think Cags is going to have a really good year. By really good, look, I'm not here to tell you he's going to be like an MVP candidate or a silver slugger at his position or anything outside of that. And I understand by making the comp I'm making, I am pointing him to one of the best power hitters last year in all of baseball. I do not understand why he cannot have a year like Junior Caminero had, the jump. Junior Caminero was a 280 on-base guy with 7 home runs in his first big league career. And then in 154 games, out of nowhere, at 23 years old last year, hit 264 with a 311 on-base percentage, both obtainable numbers for Jack Kagleon, and hit 45 homers. I'm not saying it's 45, but why can't he do that and hit 30? Why can't he have a 240 on base, 310? This is the honest, like if you made me project Jack Kagleon, I would say he hits 240 with a 310 on base, and he hits 30 to 35 homers.
I mean, you'd be foolish not to lock that in. If that's what you, I mean,
that's what I honestly expect out of this year.
I mean, I'm still bullish on Kagleon.
Not that bullish.
I'm not as sold as you are that he's getting to 30 home runs though this year.
Fair.
You know, and today we'll see how it plays out. Him not being in the lineup against a lefty. If that's actually the plan, it's going to make it even more challenging, I think, to get to where you need to get for the home run numbers in particular. Maybe it helps the average.
I think that this is more about the pitcher, not
Chris
the
Sale.
lefty part.
It's more about Chris Sale.
Or at least I'm hoping so.
Yeah, we're going to find out. I mean, is it just because it's a lefty, or is it because it's an elite lefty in Chris Sale, and why Cags is not in the opening day lineup?
I guess here's the question. And I got to look this up now because I don't know everybody's rotation. The Twins, who they face next week, all righty starting rotation.
Well, then he'll be in the lineup on Monday. Don't worry.
So I don't have to have any questions about that. The question I have, I guess, now is as I'm getting ready to look at the matchups, do the Braves possess another lefty starting pitcher? It's a righty tomorrow, so he'll be up against
Strider's on the IL.
And
I don't know
Grant
if he's a lefty
Holmes is a righty. So we won't even know the question, Gold, until late next week. Because the Twins, there are no righties or lefties they are likely to face as a starting rotation guy until at least next Thursday.
Okay.
So, Friday. So it's going to be a few days before we even know whether or not that's the case. I'm just somewhat optimistic that will still be – it's more about the individual starter and not about the player.
You know how this goes, though, too. No matter whether it's Cags or anybody. On Monday when we're outside Gate D at Kauffman Stadium for opening day, no matter how this series goes, the overreaction part, the freak-out part, it's either going to – if this team – has a terrible weekend, if they have a 3-0 weekend, if Cags hits 3 home runs, if he goes 0 for 8, you know what I mean? There will be freak out no matter what. That's, I guess, the fun of opening day and opening weekend. That the momentum, though, and for fans heading into the season on a Friday night like tonight, And after Monday, if the team, as silly as it sounds for a 162-game schedule, if they're already 1-3 or something, there will be fans that are going to say, okay, here we go again. It's crazy because it's a 162-game schedule, but there is something to be said for getting off to a good start for fans
just
to
winning
continue
the series.
If you want fans to head out to Kauffman Stadium after opening day in the month of April.
I think you and I, 2 years ago, and I didn't even think it was crazy that time because it felt like they got swept. Or they avoided the sweep. It was like right at the beginning of the season, we're like, is it already must win? Can you not lose again? Can you just salvage? And Brady Singer was on the mound, and we weren't sure what they were going to do. And they got a win, Gold, and it just felt like for a second the team could breathe. And you're right. I would like them. I don't even want like a 500 season or month of April. I want them to get off to the kind of start where it feels like the whole team can breathe. Because I think that's really important for this team this year. They were a playoff team 2 years ago. June went awful for them last year. So they didn't get off to a start that they were like
16-15 at the end of April last year.
But they weren't like how many games back in the Central? A couple, right? They weren't like in bad shape.
And they were about 500 on the year through May, and then we all know June was a disaster for this team last year,
But
right?
Jake pointed out, and you and I value it differently depending on if the team is good or not. Last year's team was above 500, could have been a playoff team, but they let June ruin their season. But like when I say they hit well, and Jake pointed this out, they were a top 10 offense in July, August, and September. And you're like, well, that seems weird. Should I value that for a team? Yes, because they were still fighting for something. That was a team still playing for a playoff spot. It is more of indicative than a team that has 60 wins going into September 1st who hits well in September. They were still playing for a playoff spot, playing for a chance at the division. So I value what they did at the end of the season, and I think they just hit a rough patch that cost them their year.
I mean, they start 3 in Atlanta. As we know, they come back home 3 against Minnesota, 3 against Milwaukee. Then you got 3 division series in a row, I should say. 3 at Cleveland, 4 against the White Sox at home, 3 at Detroit. Then you go out east, 3 at New York, come back home, you take on the Orioles, Angels, and A's. That's your month of April in a division that we all think is very winnable and that the Royals and Tigers should be the 2 top teams. I mean, the series you go through, other than the Braves this weekend, the Tigers, and the Yankees, the rest of the series should be on paper, should be ones where you're very much in play every single one of those to potentially win.
Yeah, I would think so. Again, but it doesn't – you are supposed to be one of the better teams. Me looking at, like, the schedule, looking for it, I mean, it shouldn't be that way anymore. You play in one of the weakest divisions in all of baseball. You are one of the only 2 teams I think you can make an argument for being one of the better 2 teams who should win the division, just you or the Tigers. And so that's what I pay attention to. When is their first series against the Tigers? That one is going to be one to watch, too, I think.
In the middle, right in the middle of the
month?
The month, if I'm not mistaken, yeah.
Just early on, get a little chance to preview these 2 teams against each other?
Yeah, they will open up in April. They go to Detroit on the 14th. So they're take on the White Sox for 4, then an off day, and then on
3
the
Tigers, 3 Yankees, both on the road.
14th, 15th, 16th of the month, they'll take on the Tigers.
That 6-game stretch, Tigers-Yankees, that's going to probably determine their April. That's what's crazy about it. That might very well be the swing between did you have a winning month or did you have a losing month, and which way did you decide to let it go. They also have a very heavy, as you can imagine, they have a very home-heavy May.
Because of the World Cup coming up in June.
But because of that, it is going to be important for them to win a lot of games. Like, take advantage of it. And then there's this whole thing that, like, looms over the season, which is how much is the ballpark going to be a factor? A little, a lot, a tiny bit? Will we notice?
Yeah, we're not going to know that for a while.
No, I know.
Season, though.
But, like, it's going to be interesting. That first one that scrapes over the top of the fence for either the opposing team or Vinny Pasquantino, you're going to say, oh, well, that was an out before. So what, like, are you comfortable playing there? The Royals and most teams in all sports are better at home than they are on the road. It's pretty rare to have a reverse split team in that regard. Most teams are better at playing in their own building, sleeping in their own bed, not having to get on an airplane, whatever it is. Knowing your own ballpark, those things typically play. But they play quite a bit on the road in June. Not 0, but quite a bit on the road in June because of the World Cup. And so it's just they got a lot of different things going on in a season that feels so important for – I think it was and this is the last thing I'll say about it because I know we're going to end, but this feels like a really important season for, like, where the franchise is heading in a lot of ways because of Bobby and Vinny. Like the players
I just think it's important
for
Matt Quatraro.
It is, and JJ.
If we're talking about no excuses in the bars, playoffs are bust, and competing to win the division, all that, if they go in and somehow things go poor and they miss the playoffs, next year Matt Quatraro is entering the season on the hot seat.
If it goes really poor, it might not enter the season on the hot seat.
Well, they'd have to fall apart and be a 70-win team for that to happen. They just gave him an extension.
Yeah, but it was a short extension. It was the we're not going to make you a lame duck coach extension. It wasn't the
No, but if they're an 80-win team, which would be very disappointing, and they miss the playoffs,
he'd still keep his job.
He'd keep his job. But heading into next season, if they got off to a slow April or May, I do think his job would be on the line at that point. A lot would have to go wrong for him not to be the manager next year. But this is a big year for him. I agree with you for JJ Piccolo as well. The foundation is there, and that's why we're saying it's playoffs or bust. There's really no excuse for them not to be a playoff team in 2026.
Zero. And you and I have talked about this is certainly even more so than I think you were stronger on this last year. You're right. Come June 1st, I don't want to hear that Jack Kagleon's exit velocity is good.
Yeah, that'll drive me crazy. I just had some bad luck.
No.
I need results at some point. I don't want to hear that for 2 months.
No, this team is about results, not about Seth Lugo's BABIP is good. I don't care. Is his ERA good? Are they winning baseball games? Are they succeeding in what they're doing? That is in the end the